Chapter 1963. Lin Feng is the last one. The strong cultivators of the great imperial palace were watching the battle carefully. They were astonished. Their hearts kept pounding. They were nervous too. Chu Chunqiu was really extremely strong. He could already oppress Ji Chong. At that moment, Chu Chunqiu looked like an ancient king. He was surrounded by vitality and determination. Each time he made a step, he looked like he was in symbiosis with the earth and the sky. A terrifying sky-absorbing strength crashed onto Ji Chong. Each wave of sky-absorbing strength was more powerful than the previous one. Great mountains and rivers destroying punch. Chu Chunqiu stretched out his hand. A hand which blotted out the sky appeared. The combined force of the ancient kings was terrifyingly strong. Ji Chong raised his head, and cyan dragons kept rising to the skies. He released an incredible amount of destructive Tao, which could also destroy mountains and rivers. However, Chu Chunqiu continued moving towards him. The ancient king intent was getting more and more intense. Ji Chong was surrounded by a vortex and losing control. He couldn't control his Tao intent anymore. His Tao intent was being absorbed by the sky-absorbing strength. Die! Shouted Chu Chunqiu explosively. The ancient kings continued flying towards Ji Chong. At the same time, Chu Chunqiu stretched out his hands, and the space around them crackled. He was getting closer and closer to Ji Chong. At that moment, Ji Chong was under great pressure. The sky-absorbing strength was just too terrifying. He felt like he was drowning in it. Chu Chunqiu's vitality and imperial intent was explosive. Ji Chong found himself astonished. Chu Chunqiu was fighting with an indomitable will, defying the gods. He looked like an ancient god and ancient king. Ji Chong had been proclaimed a champion, but Chu Chunqing already looked like one, a champion without a crown, who might be able to defeat the champions. When Chu Chunqiu fought against Geely, he hid his strength. He was waiting to battle against a champion. People babbled when they sensed Chu Chunqiu's astonishing strength and energies. At this moment, Chu Chunqiu seemed even stronger than Ji Chong. Even though Ji Chong was really strong, the crowd was convinced Chu Chunqiu was going to win the battle. Their battle was a whirlwind. Ji Chong had resisted against Chu Chunqiu for so long already, but he seemed more and more tired. Chu Chunqiu seemed much stronger than Ji Chong. Of course, it was just a misperception. He looked more majestic and stronger because he looked like a king. In the end, Ji Chong lost. He was perplexed. Why had he lost? Surprisingly, he had been defeated. How humiliating. Even the strong cultivators of Champion University were disappointed. Ji Chong was a champion, and from Champion University after all. And he had lost against Chu Chunqiu from the Celestial Godly University. Of course, Ji Chong wasn't a weakling. Ji Chong was really incredibly strong. But that was the sad truth of the cultivation world. Even at the same cultivation level, cultivators were not equally strong. Phew! After a long time, Ji Chong took a deep breath, finally understanding that he had lost. He felt even more determined. And actually, he was even excited and happy. He didn't feel so lonely. He wasn't the only extremely strong cultivator. Chu Chunqiu jumped onto the second pillar, and Ji Chong onto the third. Can you continue fighting? Pei Donglai asked Ji Chong calmly. I can, replied Ji Chong. Do Sung jumped into the arena. They had already agreed. After Ji Chong and Chu Chunqiu's battle, it was his turn to fight against Ji Chong. If Chu Chunqiu hadn't won the battle, Do Sung wouldn't have needed to fight. Ji Chong jumped down onto the battle stage again. Do Sung was extremely strong. Many people from the universities were excited and couldn't wait to see the battle. People from Ancient University all hoped a hero would emerge in their establishment. He was much stronger than 2 years before, and he had managed to defeat Geely. At that moment, the Buddhist warrior looked detached from worldly affairs, surrounded by holy lights. He looked incredibly strong. However, Ji Chong released his explosive destructive Tao. He wanted to destroy the Buddhist warrior's enlightened halo. The battle was intense, but in the end Ji Chong won. However, the crowd was still amazed by Do Sung's strength. He would also become a champion soon. Ing Chung, Ji Chong, Chu Chunqiu, and Do Sung. For champions one generation! Exclaimed members of the audience as the two fighters went back to their pillars. The imperial ranking list had changed again. At that moment, it was Ing Cheng Chu Chunqiu, Ji Chang, Dozhan Sung Gili, Shi Yunfeng, Lin Feng, Xue Shenfeng, Ying Gutian and Wang Zhong. Because Dozhan Sung hadn't defeated Ji Chang, he was still fourth. Gili couldn't continue fighting either. His rank was fixed. There were only two more possible changes. The first one was if Chu Chunqiu defeated Ing Cheng. And the second one was all about Lin Feng. Lin Feng had lost no battles at all. Each time, Pei Donglai only gave Lin Feng the option to fight against the cultivator, who was just above him in the ranking list. So Lin Feng could still rise in the ranking list. Of course, he needed to be strong enough. There was no weakling at the top of the ranking list. Chu Chunqiu, do you want to continue fighting? Asked Pei Donglai to Chu Chunqiu. Chu Chunqiu looked at Ing Cheng. Ing Cheng was seated cross-legged. He was soon going to become a great emperor. Since he's going to become a great emperor soon, I'm not going to fight against him, said Chu Chunqiu calmly. Ing Cheng was soon going to become a great emperor. After that, he would be removed from the imperial ranking list, and Chu Chunqiu would rank first, so he didn't need to fight against him. Chu Chunqiu didn't mind. Lin Feng was now the last one who could still fight. Suddenly, everybody was looking at Lin Feng. They were wondering what his rank would be in the end. We work hard to provide these translations, and hope you can support our team by reading PMG at the source, totally in Sanatranslation. Pei Donglai looked at Lin Feng, his eyes glittering. Maybe if he made Lin Feng fight against people who were at the top of the ranking list, he would give up. Gili is fifth and lost twice. He knows the Ghost Sutra. He's furious. If Lin Feng fights against him, Gili won't be merciful at all, and will use his full strength, thought Pei Donglai. Lin Feng was really strong. He had defeated Xue Shenfeng. Maybe Shi Yunfeng, who was just above Lin Feng, could defeat him, but he wasn't angry enough. Gili was angry enough. That was the best opponent for Lin Feng. Pei Donglai looked thoughtful. If he asked Lin Feng if he wanted to fight against Gili, he probably wouldn't refuse, because he was only 2 ranks higher than him. And Shi Yunfeng was 6th anyway. There wasn't much difference between 6th and 7th. Lin Feng, you're the last one. I don't want you to fight against someone who's too strong. Gili must be weaker than you. So do you want to fight against him? Asked Pei Donglai calmly. Gili looked even more furious. Lost twice? Weaker than Lin Feng? Gili was about to burst from anger. Everybody knew that Gili was extremely strong. However, he had fought against Chu Chunqiu and Dozhan Sung, and they were both stronger than him. It didn't mean that he wasn't strong though. Nobody knew why Pei Donglai was humiliating and infuriating Gili. Lin Feng glanced at Pei Donglai. He understood perfectly what Pei Donglai was trying to do. Gili released an ice-cold chi and spat. Are you ready? Lin Feng knew that he had to be careful. Because of what Pei Donglai had said, Gili would be merciless. I am. Lin Feng nodded. Die! Shouted Gili furiously. Instantly, Lin Feng appeared in an illusion of the netherworld. He was surrounded by blood and flames, and terrifying ghosts wanted to tear him apart with their claws. Lin Feng released his world of the living imprints. They contained no chi, however, they immediately destroyed the ghosts. He was strong, but he was a cultivation level weaker than his opponent. He could only use world of the living imprints to fight. Here, said Gili icily. Lin Feng gazed into the distance. Many ghosts continued rushing over to him. It was Gili's Dao, a mysterious divine ghostly Dao intent. In the air, an infinity of death swords appeared and whistled as they shot through the air. At the same time, Gili and Lin Feng stared one another in the eyes, trying to destroy one another's intent. A ghost king appeared in Lin Feng's brain, wanting to destroy his soul. Lin Feng usually used such a method to defeat his opponents, but now Gili was using it against him. Chapter 1964. Bye Gili ghost kings kept attacking Lin Feng's mind. They were all holding blades or scepters. Gili's Dao intent could attack people's souls. However, at that moment in Lin Feng's mind, a demon king appeared, aggressive and with terrifying chi, like an ancient king. He was holding a gigantic sword, with which he immediately started cutting apart the ghost kings. A terrifying death blade strength kept emerging from the black sword, and destroying the Ghost Kings. Whistling sounds resonated in Lin Feng's mind as he cut down another Ghost King with his death sword, and the Ghost King vanished. Arg! More Ghost Kings rushed over to Lin Feng. However, the Demon King raised his gigantic sword and raced forwards to meet them. Death sword energies filled the air. Lin Feng's death Dao was truly fearsome. In the outside world, Geely looked furious as he stared at Lin Feng. However, more death energy was emerging. It glittered, and then the Demon King penetrated into his mind. Geely was shocked as he started fighting in his thoughts. The Demon King's death sword was terrifying. It could cut apart his Ghost Kings in one strike. Even his Ghost Dao was being oppressed. It felt like he couldn't escape from death. Geely's choice to fight against Lin Feng using soul attacks wasn't a good choice after all. The Demon King was a slayer. Geely kept groaning with pain as he turned into a ghost. Lin Feng shot towards him. Sharp claws appeared and descended from the sky. Black shadows ripped towards Lin Feng in blurs of darkness. Die! Shouted Lin Feng explosively. His death sword streaked across the sky as he punched out, releasing more World of the Living imprints. The earth and the sky kept shaking violently. Thunder from the depths rumbled all about. Geely disappeared, but Lin Feng continued running and jumping, marks appearing and intertwining as they transformed. The pitch-black shadows continued moving towards Lin Feng, slicing the air on their way. Lin Feng grunted grimly, standing there like an indestructible mountain. He raised both hands, and a purple river tank emitted whistling sounds and oppressed the earth and the sky. At the same time, dazzling swords streaked across the sky and collided with the claws, emitting metallic sounds. Threads of qi penetrated into Lin Feng's body. He suddenly felt ice-cold. Die! Snarled Lin Feng icily. At the same time, the deployment lights under his feet were flared with light. His gigantic life and death pattern blotted out the sky. The life and death strength was becoming denser and denser. He's almost done carving a great deployment spell. Some people blurted out. They were astonished and staring at Lin Feng. He was so fast at casting deployment spells. And his deployment spells were so powerful. Geely's ghost attacks were sly and dangerous. But his Dao strength was less powerful than Lin Feng's. And Lin Feng's Demon King was still attacking his soul. Geely had the sensation he was going to die. Geely noticed that he didn't have the advantage. Suddenly, ghosts started wailing furiously. The earth and the sky as well as Lin Feng's godly awareness were shaking violently. At that moment, Lin Feng realized that his soul was shaking, and that many demonic demons were rushing over towards him, wanting to devour his soul. At that moment, Lin Feng closed his eyes and perceived everything clearly. Suddenly, he was surrounded by blinding lights as a bodhisattva appeared, golden and indestructible. Anything that was evil disappeared around it. Akalanatha curse. Do Sung was astonished and staring at Lin Feng, his golden eyes wide and shining. The Akalanatha curse was an incredible curse that could oppress evil. Lin Feng isn't a Buddhist and he knows the Akalanatha curse. Do Sung's eyes kept shining. Lin Feng's Akalanatha body emitted crackled and hummed. At the same time, terrifying evil energies rolled in waves towards Lin Feng. Die! Shouted Lin Feng explosively. His Nihility death sword streaked across the sky, carrying some demon curse strength along with it. Even though he could not curse Geely to death, he could at least make his soul shake violently and easily injure him. Lin Feng flashed away. His life and death deployment spell turned into a gigantic death picture and enveloped Geely. Lin Feng continued moving forwards and releasing World of the Living imprints. Everything was exploding around them. Geely initially wanted to injure Lin Feng, but he was failing miserably. Lin Feng's World of the Living imprints blasted apart Geely's gigantic ghost claws. Two ghosts still penetrated into Lin Feng's mind, trying to stop him and failing. Lin Feng released various cosmic energies. Cosmic energies of earth, death, demon, fire, cursing and many others, which he condensed into his fist as he suddenly punched out. Even though Lin Feng could now use the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky, it was just the beginning. So they weren't extremely powerful yet. If his body and his actual cultivation level had progressed at the same pace, Lin Feng would have been much stronger. He could have made the cosmic energies of his own world and those of the outside world fuse together. But he was fighting against someone whose cultivation level was higher than his, and Lin Feng couldn't use pure strength, such as cosmic energy, to defeat him. The claws of Gili's ghosts crackled as he rose up in the air. Death intent kept penetrating into his body. His body was already filled with death chi. "Come down!" shouted Lin Feng explosively. He stretched out his hands. Earth strength crashed down onto Gili. A cage appeared around him. As Lin Feng rose up in the air, Gili shouted furiously. He attacked the cage, which exploded, trying to run away. But when he looked at Lin Feng's eyes, more death Dao intent penetrated into his brain. An endless number of death sword energies moved towards him. At that moment, Gili was certain he was going to die. It was a horrible feeling. Arg! A fearsome ghost king shot towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng took a step backwards, while at the same time, Gili was trying to run away. Lin Feng looked at him, a thread of Dao intent moving into his third eye. Lin Feng looked at Gili and asked indifferently, "Do we need to continue fighting?" Gili's face was black from death strength. He was humiliated that he had lost once again. Initially, he was the third cultivator on the list, and now he had lost against Chu Chunqiu, Dou Zhanseng, and even Lin Feng. "No need. You won't see me for 3 years, said Gili. He rolled up his sleeves and abruptly left, vanishing like a ghost over the horizon. The crowd looked at Lin Feng strangely. He had defeated Gili. He was now the 5th cultivator on the imperial ranking list. Even Pei Donglai was astonished. He initially wanted Gili to crush Lin Feng. He hadn't thought Lin Feng would win. Chapter 1965. Buddha and Demon Battle. Lin Feng had defeated Gili. The dazzling imperial ranking list changed once again. Lin Feng had now replaced Gili. He was now the 5th cultivator on the list. The top 5 was now Yingcheng, Chu Chunqiu, Jichang, Dou Zhanseng, and Lin Feng. At the beginning of the event, the top 5 were Yingcheng, Jichang, Gili, Dou Zhanseng, and Shi Yunfeng. Yingcheng and Dou Zhanseng's positions hadn't changed. Jichang had fallen 1 position. Gili and Shi Yunfeng had been kicked out of the top 10. The 2 cultivators who had surprised the crowd the most were Chu Chunqiu and Lin Feng. In the sky above the clouds, one of the old men on the chessboard looked happy. It was funny to see an old man's eyes twinkle like those of a child. He's only 5th. Jichang lost against Celestial Godly University. Are you happy about that? The old man of the ancient university was furious, because Ancestor Shirtian looked happy. Lin Feng is 5th, but what is his cultivation level? If Lin Feng had the same level as those above him in the list, you think he'd only be 5th in the ranking list? Said Ancestor Shirtian smiled. That little boy could be a great emperor in 10 years. In which case he won't be able to participate in the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial ranking list. I hope he won't become strong too fast, so that you can all be amazed. Most people could participate in the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial ranking list twice. A first time when they were strong enough, such as at the beginning of the high Huangqi layer, and a second time at the top of the Huangqi layer. For example, people like Ho Qinglin and Jian Meng hadn't ranked that well their first time, but 10 years later, they had ranked much better. Of course, if those geniuses became great emperors within 10 years, they wouldn't be able to participate in the event again. Ancestor Shirtian thought that Lin Feng would probably break through to the Diqi layer and become a great emperor within 10 years. Jichang and Yingcheng had been at the top of the Huangqi layer for a long time already, but breaking through to the Diqi layer wasn't easy. Cultivators needed to find an opportunity to do so. The other old men smiled at Ancestor Shirtian and rolled their eyes. Jichang had lost against Chu Chunqiu, and Ancestor Shirtian was still smiling, as if he had forgotten about that. We don't know what the situation will be like in 10 years. Maybe other geniuses will rise and will defeat the current geniuses, said the old man of Four Seasons University coolly. He was furious. There was no cultivator from Four Seasons University in the top 5. 10 years from now, he hoped they'd have a cultivator in the top 3. He will see, replied Ancestor Shirtian, narrowing his eyes and gazing into the distance. Could that little boy continue rising in the ranking list? He was excited. Lin Feng was a medium-level emperor, and he had already achieved such great things. Everybody gazed into the distance. The real winners of this event were Lin Feng and Chu Chunxiu. Chu Chunxiu's cultivation speed was astonishing, and his sky-absorbing Dao incredible. He could absorb people's vitality and willpower. His attacks were powerful, and his powers mysterious. Lin Feng's understanding of Dao strength was astonishing too. He was also the only one who had managed to make the bell ring 13 times, astonishing everybody. At the same cultivation level, he could have defeated everybody else, and his battle against Geely was the proof. Everybody looked at Lin Feng again. How incredible! He had surprisingly defeated Geely, and was now the 5th cultivator on the imperial ranking list. And he was only a medium-level emperor. It was an incredible achievement. His chi and cosmic energies were far more powerful than his cultivation level. People didn't understand him. The Pathfinder Day of the imperial ranking list is finally over, everyone was thinking. The event had been incredible. They had seen the strongest geniuses of the Holy City, and they were all extraordinary. The crowd didn't want the event to end, they enjoyed it too much. Can I choose my opponent myself now? Lin Feng asked Pei Donglai indifferently. Lin Feng understood what Pei Donglai had tried to do. He had tried to infuriate Geely to make him fight even harder, hoping Geely would kill Lin Feng. He still wants to ask for his path. The audience was delighted. Pei Donglai had chosen all of Lin Feng's opponents. Lin Feng had accepted and won each time. He could still continue fighting. Pei Donglai was astonished and looked at him icily. From behind him, Ren Tianxing shouted, "Donglai, let him choose his opponent." "All right." Pei Donglai obeyed. His silhouette flickered, and he withdrew to the top of the flight of stairs. Lin Feng looked at Dozhan Sung and said, "Dozhan Sung, you're from a Buddhist clan and you understand Buddhism. I would like to exchange views on cultivation with you." "Your Excellency, you know the Akalanatha curse. It seems like we Buddhist brothers," said Dozhan Sung calmly. He slowly walked forwards to stand before Lin Feng motionlessly. "I wouldn't dare call myself a Buddhist. I'm just interested in Buddhism. To me, you are a great Buddhist master," Lin Feng replied calmly. Then he sat down cross-legged and stared at Dozhan Sung, who looked at him curiously and asked, "What are you doing?" "I would like you to teach me how to obtain nirvana," said Lin Feng evenly. The Buddhist warrior was surprised but nodded. He also sat down cross-legged. His body became dazzling and golden, like a solemn image of Buddha. Many illusions appeared in the sky, and started chanting Buddhist mantras. "Master, you are a Buddhist cultivator, I'm a demon cultivator," Lin Feng said calmly. Demon lights appeared behind him, and gradually a gigantic silhouette appeared. That person was holding a gigantic sword in his right hand, and a destructive hell lotus in his left, surrounded by death chi that could bury the sky. He looked proud and awe-inspiring, able to crush the planet with his feet. Dozhan Sung looked solemn and respectful, his golden body dazzling. His lips started moving, chanting mantras in a clear, melodious, pure, deep, and far-reaching Brahma voice which resonated all around them. Suddenly, many bodhisattvas surrounded Lin Feng's demon, and he started hallucinating. The Buddhist energies were purifying Lin Feng's demon energies with crackling holy power. Life strength suddenly emerged from the demon. At the same time, black lights fought back against the golden light. An inky black demon territory appeared around Lin Feng, and an evil chi started surrounding the Buddhist energies. The demon energies were regaining ground. Shattering sounds spread as the energies met, a mysterious strength rising up. The source of the 9 netherworlds appeared around the demon slowly. 9 netherworlds. The watchers were astonished. They raised their heads and looked at the 9 netherworlds water. The whole sky turned dark. 2 kinds of strength kept colliding in the air. The audience also started hearing demonic songs. 9 netherworlds demonic song. When the old men in the sky heard the melody, they were astonished. Lin Feng could surprisingly sing the 9 netherworlds demonic song. What an incredible guy. Ancestor Shirtian looked delighted and whispered, "What an incredible guy, haha." The other old men looked stunned. Even people who had a cultivation level as high as theirs didn't have easy access to such powers. It was one of the demon songs created by the Netherworld Demon Emperor back in the days, and this Lin Feng knew it. That boy practices demon cultivation, and is walking on the path of life and death. He'll definitely become a terrifying demon cultivator in the future. Dojang Sung was amazed at all this, and released even more golden Buddhist energies. A Buddha's halo illuminated the surroundings with awesome power. Some Buddha's halo ancient imprints appeared, and moved towards Lin Feng. Chapter 1966. Fourth on the imperial ranking list? The Buddha's halo illuminated everything. It was dazzling as it purified the demon's strength. When the Buddhist energies reached Lin Feng, a new destructive strength manifested, like millions of blades were attacking Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng remained calm. Demon intent rose to the skies. The sky was growing was darker and darker, pressing in on the golden light. The 9 Netherworld song kept resonating in the air. People could actually see the sound waves. Some threads of dark energies appeared on Dojang Seng's golden body. Dojang Seng's eyes were dazzling. He looked at Lin Feng and said, "An evil demon can surprisingly resist against a Buddha. Isn't it like a Haruka?" Lin Feng replied to Dojang Seng slowly. Dojang Seng looked stunned. "Haruka? The cultivation world is about strength. Buddhist and demon energies are just 2 different types of strength," Lin Feng said calmly. Dojang Seng was surprised. He had mixed feelings, but he tried not to think about those things. He had to remain perseverant. His Buddhist halo became even more dazzling. Buddhism is about life. Diabolism is about life too. The line between Buddhism and Satanism is just a thin one. You can create your strength using both types of strength, said Lin Feng. He continued singing the 9 Netherworld song. The minds of the audience were rapidly getting muddled by the song. Whether you are a Buddhist or a Satanist, in the end, when you die, you'll become a skeleton and you'll turn to powder. I am a demon cultivator, but I am perseverant and determined. Even Buddhists can't influence me, said Lin Feng. His voice resonated in Dojang Seng's head. For Lin Feng, it didn't matter whether he was a Buddhist or a demon cultivator. In the end, his purpose was the same. They were just different paths to the same place. The goal of Buddhist warriors is to fight, said Dojang Seng. His golden lights condensed and a Buddha emerged from his body, slowly moving towards Lin Feng, exuding enormous strength. Buddhist ways of obtaining nirvana are really complex, thought Lin Feng. He sensed the Buddha's halo, and death wheels appeared in those Buddhist lights. The demon song kept oppressing it, and the atmosphere was still becoming darker. People are alive, even Buddhism is about reincarnation. People can't escape from death, whispered Lin Feng. An endless number of demons appeared in the sky, and started fighting against all those Buddhist light beams. His demons looked like demon kings. Dojang Seng looked at the demons in the sky, and finally, he couldn't keep calm anymore. Lin Feng's understanding of strength was just too astonishing. The demon kings kept getting bigger and bigger, and the source of the 9 netherworlds kept flowing out and destroying the demon lights. You're a demon cultivator. I'll show you what a demon god should look like, said Dojang Seng slowly. Suddenly, he closed his eyes and started whispering things under his breath. Lin Feng saw a demon god move towards him. The demon king was holding a steel fork, which contained explosive demon energies. Bodhisattvas could also be like demon kings. The crowd was stunned. Surprisingly, Dojang Seng, who was a Buddhist warrior, could also release Yaksa kings like Gili, and that Yaksa king looked like the real thing, an ancient demon god. Everything is about your perceptions and motives. Buddhists are similar to diabolists, whispered Lin Feng. The Yaksa king released demon chi in awful waves. Lin Feng just closed his eyes, remaining perseverant and determined. The Yaksa king appeared in front of him, while Lin Feng remained motionless. Thunder rumbled out, and the Yaksa king disappeared. Dojang Seng was dumbfounded. How do you know? Asked Dojang Seng to Lin Feng. I've been to hell. I've read many books. Among those books, I read a book about Buddhist and demon cultivation. There were many skills which contained demon spells for Buddhist cultivators. There was a mysterious ghost spell in it too. I've always thought that there was no difference between demon and Buddhist cultivation. If you want to read that book, I can show it to you, said Lin Feng to Dojang Seng. You would? Dojang Seng frowned. Why wouldn't I? Lin Feng smiled. Dazzling lights twinkled in his third eye, and some memories moved towards Dojang Seng's third eye. The book slowly appeared in Dou Zhanseng's memories. Then he whispered, "I feel ashamed, I was protecting myself." As Lin Feng had started transmitting the book to Dou Zhanseng had protected himself, suspecting Lin Feng harbored bad intentions. "People are like that, I'm not offended," replied Lin Feng with a calm smile. "Initially, it was a great battle, I wouldn't have thought such a thing would happen," laughed Dou Zhanseng. Everybody was astonished as they watched the two of them. "We came here to ask for our path. Cultivation is about competing, but we compete to find our path. Who cares about the imperial ranking list?" said Lin Feng. He suddenly sounded like an enlightened person. Dou Zhanseng stood up and sighed. "I feel inferior," he said, and then he simply left. His Buddhist lights disappeared, and only demon intent remained. "Lin Feng, when you have time, come to the Canaan Buddhist clan," Dou Zhanseng called back loudly. The audience was stunned at this strange ending. Was the event finally over? The crowd looked at Lin Feng, who was still seated cross-legged. They were speechless. Lin Feng had defeated Geely, and now he had made Dou Zhanseng feel ashamed of being inferior to the extent that he had left. Lin Feng didn't even glance at the audience. His demon king was still behind him, sensing the energies of the earth and the sky. His demon strength turned into life strength. Demon Kulpa strength also appeared in a dazzling display. Demon Kulpa. Those watching were astonished. Lin Feng's demon lights were growing denser and denser. Lin Feng looked up at the sky and smiled. He stood up slowly and took a deep breath. Once again, the Devamara Kulpa strength was coming to cleanse his body. He was going to become stronger again, and getting closer and closer to becoming a high-level emperor. The Devamara Kulpa strength descended from the sky and bombarded him. His body was flaring with light. The crowd was amazed as they watched him receiving the Devamara Kulpa strength with his physical body. He wasn't even using cosmic energies to resist. His physical strength was terrifying. The waves of Devamara Kulpa strength kept bombarding his physical body, and his soul kept shaking. His soul was becoming stronger, more stable. The reason why Lin Feng could resist was because his soul was extremely strong, a very important thing when being cleansed by Devamara Kulpa strength. The old men in the sky were moved. Ancestor Shirtian looked delighted. He was extremely happy and couldn't wait for Lin Feng to become a high-level emperor. The other old men kept staring at him, and then at Lin Feng. If Lin Feng became a higher rank, he would become even more enigmatic and unfathomable. As a medium-level emperor, he could already rank 4th. He had made Geely and Dou Zhanseng leave in shame. They understood that Lin Feng's comprehension abilities were astonishing. In a world where people were extremely conceited, everybody just wanted to be strong. 4th in the imperial ranking list, medium-level emperor. Ancestor Shirtian looked like a happy kid. "Humph." The old man of ancient university grunted icily. "Hee, Dou Zhanseng is quite strong." He felt ashamed of being inferior. "He will definitely become a champion someday," proclaimed Ancestor Shirtian, smiling at the old man from ancient university. The old man ground his teeth and tried to punch Ancestor Shirtian. But it was the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial Ranking List, and Celestial Godly University and Champion University were the real champions of the event. The first and second cultivator of the Imperial Ranking List were from the Celestial Godly University. Ying Cheng had been first for ages, and now Chu Chunqiu was rising. And even though Ji Chong, who was from Champion University, had been defeated by Chu Chunqiu, Lin Feng was rising, so they were happy. Now he was the 4th cultivator in the list. In the future, Lin Feng would maybe rank 1st or 2nd. "It's finally over," sighed the crowd. The event had been incredible. Dao. At that moment, all the strong cultivators released Dao. They all felt more determined than ever. The two most astonishing cultivators of the event were definitely Lin Feng and Chu Chunqiu. Even though Ying Cheng had fought only once, he had amazed everybody. His map of several countries and their altars to the gods of earth and grain was incredible, and had caused chaos everywhere. It was as if he could destroy the 10,000 things of creation. And even though Ji Chong was now the 3rd cultivator, people had no doubt about his strength. He was incredible. In the future, Lin Feng would possibly become a new champion. As the crowd was sighing, Lin Feng looked at Ji Chang with his death eyes. He said evenly, Ji Chang, come here. Chapter 1967. Explosive Battle. Ji Chang, come here. Suddenly, everybody went silent. Everybody was staring at Lin Feng. Lin Feng wanted to continue asking for his path. He wanted to fight against champion Ji Chang. Lin Feng was the one who had fought the most battles. At the beginning of the event, he was 20th something. And now he was already 4th. And now he still wanted to fight against Ji Chang? Good little boy. Ancestor Shirtian was stupefied and happy. That young man still wanted to continue fighting. He wanted to finish the battle they had begun a year before. Ji Chang was surrounded by lights as he jumped forwards, and the crackling of air being destroyed rang out. He started releasing incredible amounts of destructive strength, and threw himself at Lin Feng. Back then, Lin Feng had fought against him on the day of his champion ceremony, a terrible humiliation. Initially he was supposed to be the hero of that day, but because of Lin Feng, all people remembered was their battle. But he couldn't get his revenge within the university. The university didn't allow it. However, now Lin Feng was challenging him in front of everyone. So now Ji Chang was finally going to be able to regain face. Cyan lights pulsed, and 100-meter-long thread of cyan energies appeared. Some shadows appeared, and more thunder rumbled out. Lin Feng could already sense the destructive energies. Lin Feng jumped forwards unflinchingly as he started casting a deployment spell. However, Ji Chang stretched out his hand. Thunder shook as he destroyed the deployment spell which hadn't finished condensing. Lights continued flowing towards Lin Feng. Die, said Lin Feng icily. He released death intent towards Ji Chang, and a nihility sword appeared. A cyan dragon emerged from Ji Chang's body and protected his soul. At the same time, his destructive Dao destroyed Lin Feng's strength. Death intent corroded Ji Chang's body, and destructive Dao intent did the same to Lin Feng's body. The energies were very intense, and sufficed to pressure both of them. Die! Ji Chang jumped forwards and raised his fist. His dragons roared, and a beam of light shot towards Lin Feng. Earth! Lin Feng released Earth cosmic energy, which protected his body. He released cursing cosmic energies to corrode Ji Chang's body, and started singing his 9 netherworlds demonic song. Ji Chang's body turned black. Lin Feng flashed forwards, empty space deployment marks appearing under his feet. He started moving invisibly fast while releasing wind strength. He also released enough world of the living imprints to blot out the sky, immediately destroying Ji Chang's technique. The imprints pounded down towards Ji Chang. Arg! 9 cyan dragons attacked the imprints, everything exploding above them. Lin Feng and Ji Chang were surrounded by a very sharp chi. A nihility sword turned into an infinity of death sword slicing through the air. At the same time, destructive Dao crashed onto Lin Feng's body. His blood started boiling, and his soul was shaking. Life and death lights rotated around him, and shot towards Ji Chang to stab at him. At the same time, Lin Feng moved like an arrow and released Demon Culpa strength at Ji Chang's hand. The air shrieked at the energies tearing through it. You want to die? Shouted Ji Chang explosively. He released even more destructive Dao with a crack of thunder. Lin Feng's muscles twitched. His blood was boiling. The two fighters kept attacking one another. A terrifying strength penetrated into Lin Feng's arms. Ji Chang grunted coldly. It was a difficult battle. Ji Chang shouted furiously. A terrifying dragon emerged from his mouth and shot towards Lin Feng, trying to devour him. You'll die. Lin Feng looked at Ji Chang with his death eyes. He released death intent, a nihility sword, cursing strength, and 9 netherworlds demon lights, and all those energies crashed onto Ji Chang. At the same time, more lights emerged from Lin Feng's third eye, turning into a palace. Millions of sharp swords drove towards Ji Chang's serpent quick. Lights flared in Ji Chang's eyes and rose to the skies, and his destructive Dao intent filled the air. Lin Feng was driven backwards. At the same time, he released World of the Living imprints towards Ji Chang and hammered him, continuing his withdrawal. It was dangerous to fight in close combat against someone like Ji Chang. At that moment, Lin Feng had the impression that many of his bones were broken. His arms felt paralyzed. Ji Chang was a champion, and controlled a powerful Dao intent. his attacks truly explosive. The audience sighed when they saw that he could still fight. Lin Feng's physical strength was really incredible. Lin Feng stretched out his hands. A river made of death energy flowed towards Ji Chang. Even as he kept moving, he also released all sorts of cosmic energies to bombard Ji Chang unceasingly. At the same time, he kept releasing nihility swords. He didn't want to give Ji Chang a second of a breather. Ji Chang made some hand seals and released his own ancient imprints. Dazzling cyan lights glittered, and cyan dragons kept attacking Lin Feng. Dao transformation. Lin Feng stared at the dragons. He saw demon dragons moving towards him. The earth and the sky were shaking. The dragons roared furiously. Many illusion lights appeared. Lin Feng waved his hands and demon death dragons coalesced and winged towards the cyan dragons. Dragons collided loudly and exploded. Lin Feng moved forwards again. The earth and the sky shaking with the force of the exploding dragons all around. Ji Chang felt the pressure, while the audience was stupefied at the display. They hadn't anticipated that Lin Feng could compete with Ji Chang. Lin Feng looked both aggressive and crazy. 9 dragons rotated around Lin Feng. Lin Feng moved forwards and released even more death swords relentlessly. Ji Chang was a champion. How could he flinch before Lin Feng? He also started moving forwards. The ground exploded all around them. They were moving so fast that embers appeared under their feet. Their chi started colliding in all directions. People's hearts were pounding violently. Lightning! Shouted Lin Feng explosively. Lightning appeared everywhere and plunged towards Ji Chang. Ji Chang grunted icily. He looked at the sky and raised his hands. He destroyed some bolts, but Lin Feng continued releasing more lightning cosmic energies. Fire! Flames appeared everywhere and converged on Ji Chang. Ji Chang frowned. Lin Feng's cosmic energies didn't pose much of a threat to him, but he couldn't ignore them either. His physical strength wasn't like Lin Feng's. Lin Feng could resist high-level emperor's physical attacks. Desolate, curse, death. Lin Feng released all sorts of cosmic energies at Ji Chang, who could only look at him icily. Cyan dragons reappeared around him and wrapped him up. However, Lin Feng just grunted and released demon Kulpa strength to attack him. Ji Chang was losing patience and attacked Lin Feng with cosmic energies. The two fighters were getting closer and closer. Ji Chang took a deep breath. Lights glittered. This time he had to really hammer Lin Feng. Lin Feng knew cosmic energies, so what? He just had to protect himself and attack him at the same time. Ji Chang shouted explosively, and Lin Feng's soul shook. It felt like both fighters could explode anytime. Death swords appeared everywhere and drove through Ji Chang's head. Both fighters kept attacking one another. They couldn't be careless, or they could die anytime. However, the death swords weren't that easy to destroy. This time, they even contained cursing demon strength and all sorts of cosmic energies which penetrated into Ji Chang's skull. He couldn't destroy them that easily. They seemed almost indestructible. An ancient king appeared behind Ji Chang and charged Lin Feng. At the same time, a demon emerged from Lin Feng's third eye. The demon king was holding a lotus and a gigantic death sword containing 9 netherworlds intent. It also attacked Ji Chang. Boom! Ji Chang's ancient king broke apart. People's hearts pounded at the sight. The demon king looked fearless as it attacked Ji Chang's body. Chapter 1968. Cyan Dragon Secret Technique. Ji Chang released cyan dragons to protect his soul. They roared in a thundering rage and attacked Lin Feng's demon king. The demon king slowly cracked. Ji Chang was extremely strong, and such people couldn't be killed that easily, unlike ordinary emperors. They had incredible spells and techniques to protect themselves. They could use their soul, their godly awareness, and their Dao intent. Lin Feng's demon god was made of Dao strength and soul strength. It crashed onto Ji Chang's head. Its gigantic death sword was made of death Dao intent. The cyan dragon kept roaring furiously. If his cyan dragon was destroyed, his soul would be destroyed. Piss off! Shouted Ji Chang furiously. The cyan dragon roared furiously, bearing fangs and brandishing claws. Break! Lin Feng couldn't give Ji Chang any time. Ji Chang's destructive Dao could destroy his deployment spells, so he didn't waste time casting them. Explosions kept going off, and cosmic energies were everywhere, tearing at the air. The Cyan Dragon turned into 9 and moved in 9 directions around Lin Feng. At the same time, Ji Chang stretched his hand out, and a terrifying Cyan Dragon moved towards Lin Feng's head. Die! Lin Feng raised his hand, and Death Kulpa swords cut apart everything. Cosmic energies twinkled and rotated. World of the living imprints kept emerging from his hands, and the earth and the sky kept shaking. Lin Feng ran forwards and shouted, "You will lose!" His voice contained demon-cursing strength and resonated in Ji Chang's head. He couldn't flinch. Lin Feng moved like the wind with an indomitable will. Ji Chang's eyes were glowing madly. He didn't retreat, instead jumping forwards, and turned into a Cyan Dragon. His chi was astonishing, threatening to bring down the sky. Lin Feng stretched his hand out, and empty space lights condensed. Ji Chang's attack arrived at the same time, and thunder boomed as his destructive strength crashed down. Lin Feng's deployment marks were destroyed before the destructive energies continued moving towards Lin Feng. But the chi wasn't as powerful as a moment before. Die! At that moment, Lin Feng shouted furiously and released desolate cursing sound strength. Immortal energy pulsed out. The Demon King assaulted Ji Chang's Cyan Dragon. Cosmic strength emerged from Lin Feng's left hand. World of the living imprints emerged from his right hand. Ji Chang and Lin Feng's cosmic energies collided. However, the world of the living imprints appeared again. Ji Chang couldn't destroy them. He raised his fist as Cyan Dragons roared. The world of the living imprints crashed onto Ji Chang's body like endless hammers, destroying some of his Cyan Dragons. Ji Chang was sent crashing into a pillar, coughing up blood. He just closed his eyes, firmed his resolve, and Cyan Dragons emerged and struck out again. Lin Feng was driven backwards as well, his arms all sore. He was staring at Ji Chang. The champion was indeed really strong. "You lost," said Lin Feng, smiling proudly. The crowd shivered in disbelief. Lost? Ji Chang had lost against Ying Cheng and Chu Chun Xiu. Had he lost against Lin Feng now? The champion 3 defeats? What a humiliation, just like Geely. Lin Feng knows too many things. Soul attacks, skills, techniques, spells, ancient imprints, all sorts of cosmic energies. He's relentless and brave. Fighting against Lin Feng is a nightmare. The crowd chattered as they watched Lin Feng. Chu Chun Xiu and Lin Feng were truly incredible. Chu Chun Xiu's strength had amazed everybody. But he was a high-level emperor after all. Lin Feng was just a medium-level emperor. There was a huge difference between medium-level emperors and high-level emperors. And Ji Chang was also a champion, so he was even stronger than those people. "The battle is not over," said Pei Donglai indifferently. He asked Ji Chang, "Ji Chang, do you think you lost?" Lin Feng was startled and looked at Pei Donglai. Ji Chang released a terrifying strength at that moment. Lin Feng was stunned. Lin Feng flashed forwards. Ji Chang opened his eyes and shouted furiously. A terrifying Cyan Dragon appeared and dashed to the skies. Ji Chang's body was surrounded by brilliant cyan lights. The Cyan Dragon turned into a column of light. "Arg!" The dragon roared in a thundering rage. Lin Feng's soul shook violently. The Demon King in Ji Chang's mind was propelled away and slowly disappeared. Ji Chang's chi suddenly became much more powerful. The Cyan Dragon mysterious technique of the Ji clan. The crowd frowned. Surprisingly, Ji Chang was using the mysterious technique of the Ji clan. He initially had the strength of a high-level emperor, but with that technique, he could have the strength of a great emperor. According to legends, when you use the Cyan Dragon mysterious technique, you have to pay the price for it. You need to recover for a very long time. Ji Chang wasn't far from becoming a great emperor, but he's going insane now. He doesn't want to lose. The crowd was astonished. His chi stopped becoming stronger. He looked like a real king, arrogant and proud. He didn't care about his injuries anymore. Lin Feng looked over at Pei Donglai. Pei Donglai knew that Ji Chang had a mysterious technique, which was why he had said the battle wasn't over. He's insane. Ji Chang didn't use his mysterious technique against Ying Cheng or Chu Chun Xiu, but he doesn't want to lose a third time, especially against Lin Feng. Everyone sighed. If he fought against Ying Cheng and Chu Chun Xiu again, they wouldn't be able to win. His chi was already the chi of the Di Chi layer. Ji Chang flickered and suddenly disappeared. A king emerged from his body and attacked Lin Feng's soul. He wanted to get his revenge for all the attacks Lin Feng had just carried out. Collapse, he roared out. Lin Feng suddenly had the sensation his body was going to explode, and his bones were going to be crushed. If he hadn't had an incredible physical strength, he would have died. Lin Feng was frozen. Ji Chang had the strength of a great emperor at this moment. When Ji Chang saw that Lin Feng resisted his attack, he looked even more furious. The ancient king moved towards Lin Feng's third eye. Die! Death Chi exploded out, and Ji Chang grunted icily. There was another explosion, and Lin Feng was hurled away. Ancestor Shi Tian frowned, and the old man next to him chortled. Haha! Which of the two students of Champion University do you prefer? Shut up, said Ancestor Shi Tian, continuing to watch. Ji Chang was a real bastard, and truly sly. What a little person. Many people from the Ying clan and the Pei clan finally had cause to smile. Finally, Lin Feng was going to shut up. He would stop being arrogant. Finally, Ji Chang was truly furious. Lin Feng looked at him icily and said, You surprisingly used a mysterious technique during such an event. You better not blame me. Ji Chang jumped forwards, and a terrifying strength surrounded Lin Feng. At the same time, the ancient king forced Lin Feng's demon away and attacked him. Death strength appeared in Lin Feng's eyes. Chapter 1969. Ridiculous. The battle in Lin Feng's mind was insane. Ji Chang's ancient king was fighting against his ancient demon, and Lin Feng was using his godly awareness palace to protect his soul. The Sky Palace, what's the date tonight? Asked a mysterious voice. The godly awareness palace flared up and blocked the ancient king. The demon king jumped, raising his left hand. He wanted to kill Ji Chang's ancient king, flying towards it, and raised his gigantic death sword. The ancient king roared furiously and raised his hands. Their fists collided, and they both dispersed at the same time. Outside, Ji Chang and Lin Feng were both bleeding, and their faces had turned deathly pale. The ancient king and the demon king had made them use up lots of soul strength. They were both getting tired. Ji Chang roared with rage. Cyan dragon lights dashed to the skies. Lin Feng released a terrifying amount of life chi. Ji Chang ran forwards, everything cracking and breaking down around him. Lin Feng's bones felt like they were going to explode. Lin Feng took a deep breath, smiling crazily. Humph. He's going to die, said Pei Dongqing, smiling icily. Lin Feng wanted his younger brother to steal Pei Dongqing's woman. He was going to die now. Lin Feng. Meng Qing and many other people were astonished. Many people were shouting now. Lin Feng had to admit his defeat. It was better than dying. Ji Chang, you're a high-level emperor and you dare use your mysterious and ancient technique against me? Do you deserve being called a champion? Do you deserve the champion crown? Said Lin Feng in a demonic voice. He was trying to destroy Ji Chang's willpower. A tree appeared indistinctly behind him. Heavenly Grace Godly Tree. Many people were astonished when they recognized the godly wood. Cosmic strength was rotating around it. He's a medium-level emperor, and he's already been to Godlywood Valley, and a tree has acknowledged him. Those watching were astonished. Lin Feng was truly an incredible genius. Very quickly, a white lotus appeared indistinctly. And then a beautiful blue Uptila lotus appeared under Lin Feng's feet. You're using the godly wood and a blue Uptila lotus, that's not your own strength, said Pei Donglai icily. Shut the hell up, shouted Lin Feng back explosively. He looked at Pei Donglai coldly and said, On the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial ranking list, the Great Imperial Palace's people are in charge. However, you've constantly been trying to disadvantage me. Do you think I'm stupid? Ji Chang's mysterious technique is not his own strength. It's a Cyan dragon's strength. You're ridiculous. If the managers of the event are like you, then it would be the same without you, or even better. The crowd sighed with empathy. Indeed, Ji Chang's mysterious technique wasn't his own power, and without it, he would have definitely lost. He was borrowing the strength of an ancient Cyan dragon. Lin Feng's tree and lotus were similar. He could borrow strength from them. Pei Donglai pulled a long face. He was a disciple of the Great Imperial Palace, and they were in charge of the event. And now someone dared insult them? Even if you use an external source of strength, it won't change anything, said Ji Chang icily. He raised his arms, which looked like illusionary dragons. Lin Feng ignored him. He slowly raised his hand and suddenly condensed all sorts of cosmic energies, wind, fire, lightning, cursing. The air was completely distorted around him. An endless amount of cosmic energies condensed in Lin Feng's hands. Light beams streaked across the sky. The energies turned into a black lotus, looking more and more real. The crowd was astounded. What kind of Tao intent was that? The heavenly grace godly would allowed Lin Feng to use all sorts of cosmic energies. And this Tao intent allowed him to condense all sorts of cosmic energies. When the crowd looked at Lin Feng's black lotus, they all shuddered. Ji Chang stopped in astonishment. That black lotus was dangerous. He remained silent for a few seconds, but then he raised his great imperial qi once more. Ji Chang is getting ready to fight, thought the crowd. They sensed that Ji Chang was getting ready. He was condensing his energies, and the air became even thicker. Lin Feng and Ji Chang's energies started colliding. They both looked like ancient kings. After a long time, they finally started advancing forwards. The crowd was shaking. The two fighters drew closer and closer to one another. A gigantic cyan dragon flew towards Lin Feng's black lotus. The black lotus grew to a gigantic size. The eruption of light blinded the crowd as waves of energies rumbled out. They couldn't see Lin Feng and Ji Chang anymore. They had disappeared in the energies. Wild discharges ripped out in every direction. "Get down!" shouted Pei Donglai. Everyone jumped off the celestial imperial pillars as a destructive force swept over them. Their hearts were pounding at the close call. Those guys went too far. Ji Chang and Lin Feng were both from Champion University, and they were risking their lives. Death Qi pulsed and surged on the stage. Everything had dispersed. The crowd saw Ji Chang and Lin Feng again. They were seated cross-legged and had changed their clothes already, but their hair was still messy, and they were still bleeding. Ji Chang put a pellet in his mouth. Lin Feng released life qi. The godly wood tree appeared indistinctly. "They're both badly injured," observed the crowd in astonishment. They were both severely injured. How to rank them on the imperial ranking list? Many people looked at Pei Donglai. The members of the Great Imperial Palace were in charge of the imperial ranking list. Lin Feng had the advantage. Then Ji Chang used his mysterious technique. Now they're both badly injured. Lin Feng should rank third, said Ho Qing Lin calmly. Some people nodded. Ji Chang used his mysterious technique, but Lin Feng used his ancient tree and lotus. It helped him a lot. Ji Chang won, retorted some people from the Ji clan. Indeed, said Pei Donglai, nodded agreement. He looked at Lin Feng and said, "Lin Feng, you borrowed too much strength. You're fourth. Are you okay with that?" Lin Feng released more life qi, opening his eyes and looking at Pei Donglai. "If I say I'm not okay with that, will you rank me third?" "I won't," replied Pei Donglai indifferently. "Then why do you need to talk shit?" Lin Feng said serenely. Pei Donglai's face stiffened. Pei Donglai groaned icily. "You're lucky I'm telling you. Besides, the event is over. So now Yin Rue is going to announce Yin Yu's wedding. Last time, you asked if your younger brother could get married to her. Well, so sorry about that." The members of the Yin clan looked furious, especially Yin Rue. He was the one who was supposed to announce Yin Yu's wedding, and Pei Donglai had spoken up first. Now they couldn't say anything anymore. However, Lin Feng just looked unmoved. He looked at Pei Donglai and smiled mockingly. The members of the Great Imperial Palace are in charge of managing this event. It's been many years. You have power in the Holy City. That's just symbolic. However, if you mess around with the imperial ranking list, people won't care about it anymore, said Lin Feng in a disdainful way. "I don't care whether I'm third or fourth on your stupid list. I know how strong I am. You can remove my name from your list if you want. We'll see if people will still care about it. You need such a list to have power. The people on it don't need to be on it. If you want, you can even put my name at the bottom of the list. I don't give a shit," said Lin Feng, pointing at Pei Donglai. He was making fun of Pei Donglai. Would Pei Donglai put Lin Feng's name at the bottom of the list? They just controlled the list, so it was useless. Chapter 1970. End of the Pathfinder Day. Pei Donglai looked at Lin Feng icily. The imperial ranking list gave them power in the holy city. Lin Feng was right. It was a symbol. Of course, he couldn't put Lin Feng's name at the bottom of the list. They needed a list, but cultivators didn't need one. It's impossible to say who won this battle. However, Lin Feng is a medium-level emperor. And he was fair in his battle against Ji Chang. He's third for now. They can fight again another day and we'll determine the winner then, said Ren Tianxing at that moment. Lin Feng's name appeared in the third position. The crowd looked at the imperial ranking list, and everyone took a deep breath. Surprisingly, Lin Feng had risen up to the third position. Nobody had anticipated that. Now he was as dazzling as Chu Chunxiu. Pei Donglai looked at the list and remained silent. Lin Feng looked at Yin Rui, noticing that Yin Rui looked angry. If he had a choice, he would have killed Lin Feng without hesitation. Lin Feng looked at Yin Yu. Poor girl. Lin Feng turned around and looked at Pei Dongqing icily. He wanted to kill him. Pei Dongqing looked furious. Would Lin Feng dare kill him? You're third in the imperial ranking list. The event is over, said Pei Donglai calmly. Everybody was sad. They didn't want the event to finish. Finally it was over. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. Back then, you reached the top of the list when you had the strength of the top of the Huangqi layer. Lin Feng slowly stood up. He looked at Pei Donglai, the members of the Yin clan and the crowd. He flitted over next to Meng Qing and said, "Let's go back to university." Wu Shang looked at Lin Feng and Yin Yu, but in the end he followed Lin Feng. They went back to the university. The top 10 of the imperial ranking list was now Yin Cheng Chu Chunxiu, Lin Feng Ji Chang, Dou Zhanseng, Gili Shi Feng, Shuai Feng, Yin Gutian and Wang Zhong. There had been huge changes. Yin Rui slowly rose up into the air and said to Yin Gutian, "Gutian, go back to the clan and practice cultivation." "I understand," said Yin Gutian, nodding stiffly. The two young people of the Yin clan couldn't join the great imperial palace. The event had been tragic for Yin Gutian. "Brother Pei," said Yin Rui to a strong cultivator of the Pei clan with a smile. The strong cultivator of the Pei clan said, "Brother Yin Rui, I'll personally come to the Yin clan to propose a marriage alliance." The Pei clan and the Yin clan were big clans in the holy city. They had to be polite and friendly. "I see." Yin Rui nodded and didn't say much. Their two big clans were going to become allies. Lin Feng was extremely strong, but in the end, Yin Rui had to choose power over strength. The most furious clan wasn't the Pei clan or the Yin clan on this day, however. It was the Ji clan. Ji Chang champion. A year ago, everybody admired him, and then Lin Feng had ruined his champion ceremony. Now a year had passed, and on the Pathfinder Day of the imperial ranking list, Ji Chang had lost 3 times. He had lost against Ying Cheng, which didn't matter because Ying Cheng was extremely strong. But then he had lost against Chu Chunxiu and Lin Feng. How humiliating. However, the Ji clan had no choice but to admit that Chu Chunxiu and Lin Feng were extremely strong, especially Lin Feng. He only had the strength of a medium-level emperor, but he was already such an incredible cultivator. And now they could only wait for Ji Chang to recover from having used the mysterious technique. "I hope that Ji Chang won't give up," sighed the leader of the Ji clan. Ji Chang could only rely on his own self now. The crowd started dispersing. Maybe that all those geniuses would be at the top of the region of the Dark Night someday. Of course, nobody could anticipate and predict the future. Chu Chunxiu and Lin Feng were now famous in the holy city, like Ying Cheng and Ji Chang. Many powerful clans knew their names now, especially since they had defeated Ji Chang the champion. Chu Chunxiu and Lin Feng had the potential to become champions if they didn't die. Everybody went back to their clan holds. The Yin clan, the Pei clan, and the Ji clan tried to think of ways to get rid of Lin Feng. They all hated him, especially the Ji clan. In a palace in the Ji clan, many people looked glum. "Tell me what you think," the leader of the Ji clan asked them. "Lin Feng had that guy Blind Wuyo. He caused trouble in our clan. He killed Ji Jiang, and now he beat Ji Chang. He must die," said a strong cultivator slowly. Everybody nodded agreement. The Ji clan had many enemies, but usually they didn't care about them too much. Even though Lin Feng was just one person, he was very talented, and the Ji clan couldn't forget about him. The leader of the Ji clan was also convinced that Lin Feng would pose a threat to them sooner or later. Even though we don't know where he's from, we know he doesn't have a powerful background. He is backed up by some clans in the vast celestial ancient city. We'll have to be careful of them. But our biggest problem is Champion University. I have a few suggestions, spoke up a middle-aged man. Many people looked at him. Tell us, ordered the leader of the Ji clan. Lin Feng's existence isn't a problem to us. It's even a good thing for Ji Chong. Lin Feng is talented, he will continue rising. Ji Chong will feel even more determined and motivated. He is a champion, he is very motivated and talented. Began that person slowly. The leader of the Ji clan and the others nodded. Ji Chong was definitely very determined. Champions were always determined. He wasn't as talented as Lin Feng, but he was determined and nothing was impossible. Good. However, we can always oppress him when we have opportunities. Just don't kill him. That way Champion University won't be able to say anything. We'll see how Lin Feng will react, said the leader of the Ji clan. Everybody nodded consent. If Lin Feng was constantly oppressed, he wouldn't be able to rise and Ji Chong might manage to surpass him again at some point. Chapter 1971. Preventing the wedding from happening after the event. The holy city became much less lively. The geniuses started meditating in seclusion again. Many people felt even more motivated after the event. Many cultivators who didn't understand Dao strength had now observed people using Dao strength and felt even more determined. It was the same after each Pathfinder day. The geniuses wanted to become even stronger. They couldn't stop thinking about cultivation. It had been 100 years since people had seen such an intense Pathfinder day. These geniuses were incredibly strong. Lin Feng had benefited a lot from the event. His understanding of things had deepened. He understood demon strength much better than before. And he had made a huge step on the path of life and death. He had also realized how important soul battles were. If a cultivator's soul wasn't powerful enough, then they couldn't protect themselves properly. Gilly could kill people in the blink of an eye by attacking their souls. Even cultivators of the top of the Huangqi layer. He was extremely dangerous. Lin Feng was seated cross-legged. He had been meditating for 7 days already, and was recovering. There was a jade talisman in the air in front of him. His consciousness was inside it. Buddhism and diabolism are really similar. Gilly can release a Yaksa ghost king. Dozhan Sung can also release a different Yaksa king. Yaksa kings could be demons from hell or wrathful versions of Buddhist divinities, murmured Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng was visualizing 5 Buddha images: Akalanatha, Trailokaya Vijaya, Kwali Vidyaraja, Yamantaka and Vajrayaksa. Lin Feng focused on Vajrayaksa, who was surrounded by dazzling lights and holding a Vajra, in addition to 5 cobalt weapons. He had bells, and the sound of his bells could enlighten the benighted and destroy evil strength. He had obtained the Wisdom King from Juzi. It was a precious treasure. Lin Feng was convinced that that Wisdom King was very mysterious and excellent for protecting his soul. It was also useful to study some extremely powerful Buddhist techniques. Some days passed and inside Lin Feng's spirit world, Lin Feng cleansed his Devamara body again. His physical strength kept increasing. He needed to be cleansed by Devamara Kulpa strength a few more times and improve his Devamara body, and he would attain the physical strength of a high-level emperor. Of course, Lin Feng's priority was to understand Dao strength. Lin Feng wanted to understand a second type of Dao strength, but it was too difficult. He opened his eyes, and another Lin Feng was next to him, one of his clones. The 2 cultivators became one again. His eyes twinkled coldly. Some time had passed since the Pathfinder day of the Imperial ranking list, and the Pei clan had already proposed a marriage alliance to the Pei clan. The next day, they were going to discuss the wedding. Actually, if it had only been about Yin Yu and Pei Dongqing, the clans wouldn't have been open about it, as those 2 people weren't very strong, nor were they important. It was still an incredible thing, because 2 very powerful and ancient clans were going to become allies. Everybody understood that in the holy city. Lin Feng turned around. Lin Wushang was in the distance by the waterfall. Xiaoya was there too. Lin Wushang had also heard about the wedding. "Wushang!" shouted Lin Feng to his brother. Lin Wushang turned around and looked at Lin Feng, who was coming towards him. Lin Feng said, "Tomorrow we'll go to the Pei clan to congratulate them." "Bro!" Lin Wushang looked stupefied. "Congratulate them?" Lin Feng laughed and slapped his brother's shoulder. "You found a girl who loves you, I'll help you. But you have to remember something, in the future, you'll have to rely on yourself. The only way to be respected by people is to be strong enough." "All right," nodded Lin Wushang, his eyes bloodshot. He understood that so well now. Lin Feng sighed. He remembered when his brother was a baby. Lin Feng could help his brother sometimes, but it would be best if he could rely on himself. Some things weren't easy in the cultivation world. The Pei clan in the Holy City was an ancient clan. It had existed for a very long time, and they had many strong cultivators. Their headquarters were in a mountain range. The mountain range was boundless. People felt tiny when standing at the foot of the mountains. From the various peaks, the scenery was spectacular, with many palaces and courtyards. The Pei clan was in the center of the mountain range. There were also many small worlds opening up there. It was impossible to see them all. Many people were going up the mountain. There was an illusionary gate high up in the mountains with gigantic words at the top. Pei clan. There were pillars on both sides of the way leading to the gate, and mist floating up in the air. When Lin Feng arrived at that legendary palace, he picked the southern gate. When Lin Wushang and Lin Feng arrived, a guard of the Pei clan recognized Lin Feng. He had been at the Pathfinder event, so he had Lin Feng him there. "Lin Feng!" The guard frowned when he saw Lin Feng and Lin Wushang and said, "What are you doing here?" "We came to congratulate the Pei clan. Aren't we welcome?" Lin Feng asked calmly. The guard's eyes glittered. He stared at Lin Feng and Lin Wushang. The first thing he thought when he saw them was that they had come to cause trouble. However, Lin Feng and Lin Wushang were alone. What could they do? "I see. Please," said the strong cultivator indifferently. Even if they knew that Lin Feng wasn't sincere, they were a big ancient clan. They had nothing to fear. Lin Feng walked through the gate and entered the Pei clan. There were many spectacular palaces, all of them beautiful and gigantic, enough to accommodate many dozens of people. Many people had already come to offer congratulations. There were many people from famous families such as the Ji clan, the Yuan clan, and of course the Ying clan. Lin Feng. At that moment, many people noticed Lin Feng. They were stupefied. Since the Pathfinder day, everybody had been talking about Lin Feng and Chu Chun Xiu in the Holy City. Everybody knew there were tensions between Lin Feng and the Pei and the Ying clans. What was Lin Feng doing there? The banquet's purpose was to talk and plan the wedding. Lin Feng. Pei Dongqing noticed Lin Feng and Lin Wushang and said mockingly, "You brought your little brother here to enjoy fine liquors?" "I didn't come to get drunk. I came here to bring presents," said Lin Feng, smiling. He looked at an elder of the Pei clan and said, "My brother likes Yin Yu and Yin Yu likes him. I'll pay the full price to cancel the wedding." The crowd looked at Lin Feng strangely. Was he insane? He was talented and had a high position in Champion University. But he couldn't cancel the marriage alliance between the Pei clan and the Ying clan. "Unfortunately, even if you pay the full price, it won't work," said the elder of the Pei clan calmly. Lin Feng wanted to cancel the wedding? Was that even possible? Lin Feng ignored him and smiled. "I am talented thanks to some ancient holy scriptures. You all know that." When the crowd heard Lin Feng, many people suddenly stared at him. "You said that even if I pay the full price, it won't change anything. Well, what about the celestial evolution holy scriptures?" asked Lin Feng, smiling at the elder indifferently. The elder's heart started pounding. Lin Feng was willing to give them the celestial evolution holy scriptures. Chapter 1972. End of the wedding agreement. The Pei clan members stared at Lin Feng. The Pei clan was a very powerful clan and had incredibly strong cultivators. But with the celestial evolution holy scriptures, they would become even stronger. For a whole clan, having such scriptures was very tempting. The elders of the Pei clan all dreamt of having the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. A marriage alliance was good for two clans to become stronger. But with the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, they could become stronger on their own. The crowd remained silent. Evidently, the elders of the Pei clan were tempted. The old man looked at Lin Feng, remained silent for a few seconds, and finally smiled coldly. "You're joking. I don't believe you would be ready to abandon the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. I have only one brother. If you accept, I'll give you the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. If you accept, you have to cancel the wedding," Lin Feng said quietly. "Don't try to fool us." The elder tried to come back to his senses. If Lin Feng really wanted to give up the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, why didn't he go straight to the Yin clan? Why did he come to the Pei clan? Even if the Pei clan agreed, took the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures and cancelled the wedding, the Yin clan would hate Lin Feng even more. "Even if we cancel the wedding, your brother won't be able to marry Yin. I'll be fair to both parties," said Lin Feng, smiling indifferently. The members of the Yin clan were stupefied. Did Lin Feng want to give them the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures too? The elder of the Pei clan remained silent for a few seconds. He didn't know what Lin Feng was thinking. But then he smiled. "Give me the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures first." "Do you think the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures are a toy? Say it publicly. If I give you the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, you agree to cancel the wedding," replied Lin Feng calmly. The elder's eyes kept glittering. He perfectly knew well that if he accepted publicly, he'd offend the Yin clan. But for the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, after a few seconds, the elder of the Pei clan looked at Yin Rue and said, "Brother Yin Rue, if we obtain the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, we will give them to you as a sign of respect." Yin Rue was stupefied. Then, the elder of the Pei clan looked at Lin Feng and said, "All right, if you agree to pay with the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, the Pei clan will cancel the wedding," agreed the elder of the Pei clan finally. The Yin clan would understand. And in any case, it wasn't a firm statement. If they didn't obtain the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, they wouldn't cancel the wedding. Lin Feng smiled and said, "You're wise. For the well-being of your clan, you prefer canceling the wedding." The elder looked at Lin Feng. His eyes were gleaming and said, "What about the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures?" "I need to think," smiled Lin Feng. "You're trying to trick me?" said the elder of the Pei clan, releasing ice-cold energies. "Master, I haven't promised anything yet," said Lin Feng. All the members of the Pei clan pulled a long face. One of them jumped forwards and released purple energies towards Lin Feng. It was Pei Donglai. "I came here to congratulate the Pei clan. Is that how you treat your guests?" said Lin Feng mockingly. The elder of the Pei clan waved and said, "Donglai." Pei Donglai recalled his chi, but he was really furious. During the Pathfinder Day, he hadn't been able to do anything, and now Lin Feng had come to the Pei clan to cause trouble. "Brother Yin Rue, I'm sorry for all this. I will send people to the Yin clan to apologize," said the elder of the Pei clan to Yin Rue apologetically. "Let's continue planning the wedding. We can't be influenced by rude and useless young people," said Yin Rue icily. Lin Feng looked at Yin Rue and smiled. "Master Yin Rue, if you really want the wedding to happen, I'll secretly give the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to the Pei clan during the wedding." You heard what the elder of the Pei clan just said, and you can imagine what the consequences would be, said Lin Feng. The faces of the members of the Pei clan and the Yin clan stiffened when they heard Lin Feng. The Pei clan had just admitted they were ready to cancel the wedding if Lin Feng gave them the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Their elder knew that Lin Feng was trying to trick him, but he had still said he would cancel the wedding if he obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. "What a sly and evil bastard. The Pei clan doesn't want to see you here," said the strong cultivator of the Pei clan. Pei Donglai was furious. Lin Feng smiled and said, "All right, since the Pei clan expels guests, I'm off, see you." Then, Lin Feng turned around and walked back to the gate with Lin Wushang. People's faces changed drastically. "Master Yin Rue, think about what I said. If the Pei clan is willing to cancel the wedding for the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, the Yin clan could also go back on their words too, and make Yin and Wushang marry. That wouldn't be impolite since the Pei clan isn't serious about the wedding. And in the future, I will give the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to Yin and Wushang's children. They'll also go to the Yin clan. They'll come see you and the other elders. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures will keep being transmitted to everyone in the clan, said Lin Feng loudly. Yin Rui's heart was pounding. Now the Yin clan had an opportunity. And as I said, if the wedding happens, I will give the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to the Pei clan on the day of the wedding. I will do it secretly. Master Yin Rui, you can gamble if you want as well. If I give them the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, will they cancel the wedding at the last minute? You can decide. Lin Feng slowly disappeared in the distance. The members of the Pei clan were all furious. Lin Feng had tricked them. If Yin Rui really wanted the wedding to happen, one possibility was that on the day of the wedding, the Pei clan would receive the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures and would cancel it at the last minute. If Yin Rui canceled the wedding, maybe some years later, Lin Feng and the Yin clan would be friends. Yin would bring the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures back to the Yin clan, quite often for everybody to study. But it seemed too simple. Even stupid people would choose the second option. Just like Lin Feng had said, the Pei clan cared more about the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, and they had said it openly. So if the Yin clan cancelled the wedding, it wouldn't be rude. Lin Feng is smart. A few sentences and he can make things change, muttered some guests to one another. Some of them were laughing on the inside. All of this had nothing to do with them, but they found such situations amusing. And besides, many other ancient clans hoped the Pei clan and the Yin clan wouldn't become allies. Any clan would have done the same thing as the Pei clan. They all would have chosen the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Those people cared about profit more than anything. That's how Lin Feng had come up with his plan. Who could refuse ancient holy scriptures? Especially the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures could help anyone become stronger and even more talented. Lin Feng had left, and now Yin Rui had to make a decision. Everybody looked at Yin Rui. He had mixed feelings and didn't know what to think. If Lin Feng really gave the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to the Pei clan on the day of the wedding, would they refuse? Of course not. He knew it. So Lin Feng was threatening him by doing that. If you cancel the wedding, we can be friends. We become like a family. The future of the Yin clan was now in Yin Rui's hands. Brother Yin Rui, don't listen to that bastard, said the elder of the Pei clan when he saw that Yin Rui's eyes were glittering. Brother Pei, have you forgotten what you've just said? Said Yin Rui indifferently and raised his head. The face of the Pei clan's elder stiffened. Lin Feng is sly. Brother Yin Rui, you've seen it too. I did, and he will probably continue. You may even obtain the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. I'm sorry, but I can't gamble putting my clan at stake. I'm off, said Yin Rui coldly. He bowed before the elders of the Pei clan and waved at the people of his own clan. They were leaving. The members of the Pei clan were stupefied. They had offended the Yin clan? But the Yin clan would have done the same thing. Anyone would have done that. Lin Feng, the elders of the Pei clan looked furious and released Qi. Brother Pei, see you. See you. The other guests also left. The members of the Pei clan felt really awkward. Very quickly, there was nobody left, but there were many tables still laden with alcohol and food everywhere. The members of the Pei clan were furious. The temperature dropped and the wind whistled, but it didn't matter anymore. Of course, all this had nothing to do with Lin Feng anymore. He had done all he could. If this plan failed, he'd find another way. He wouldn't hesitate to resort to even more cruel methods. What had happened on that day quickly spread across the region. In the Yin clan, a young woman was smiling widely at Lin Feng's actions. Chapter 1973. Diqi Layer, and above Lin Feng went back to Champion University. He left a clone outside, and he headed to the Celestial Mountain. Above the clouds, Ancestor Shirtian opened his eyes and smiled at Lin Feng. Little boy, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Lin Feng smiled and bowed before him. Master, I came because I need you to help me resolve doubts. What doubts? Asked Ancestor Shirtian smiling. What is Tao? Asked Lin Feng to Ancestor Shirtian. Ancestor Shirtian looked at Lin Feng and smiled. You have just started walking on the path of life and death, and now you're asking me what Tao is. Don't you think it's too early? If I don't understand what Tao is, how could I achieve enlightenment? Asked Lin Feng slowly. Cultivators had to choose their own path, which was closely linked to their Tao. The path was the Tao. Lin Feng was walking on the path of life and death. He could release life and death strength quickly and easily. The path of reincarnation allowed cultivators to force people to reincarnate in the blink of an eye. Destructive Tao allowed a cultivator to destroy mountains and rivers. But they were all just at the beginning of their path. Tao is awareness, Tao is strength, Tao is rules, replied the smiling Ancestor Shirtian. What are the limits of Tao? Asked Lin Feng. The limits of Tao? Ancestor Shirtian was startled and sighed. The limit of Tao is when you transcend worldliness. Some people say that it's the Anuttara, or the paramount if you prefer. And some people also say that being able to transcend worldliness is creation. Transcend worldliness. Lin Feng was stupefied. But how many people can transcend worldliness? How many people can break free from the kiliacosm of the great Tao? There are millions of ways of reaching enlightenment. There are some people who can control earth and heaven. I'm an ancestor. I'm a holy great emperor. But I'm far from being able to transcend worldliness. Ancestor Shirtian sighed. Lin Feng's question made him think about lots of things. Being able to transcend worldliness was any cultivator's dream. The limit of cultivation is the paramount creation. Lin Feng repeated to himself. He still didn't understand, of course. Ancestor, how strong are cultivators who have broken free from the great Tao? Lin Feng asked the ancestor. People who can break free from the kiliacosm of the great Tao are not affected by the rules of the earth and sky anymore. In one glance, they can destroy a whole world. With the power of the mind, they can create billions of asuras and hells in the blink of an eye. They are possibly immortal too. Such people transcend worldliness and attain holiness. They become arhats, said Ancestor Shirtian. He had not managed to transcend worldliness and attain holiness. Such people were extraordinary and unique. Sages, murmured Lin Feng. Sages, sage rulers, peerless kings, agreed Ancestor Shirtian. His eyes were twinkling. A light beam emerged from his eyes and pierced through the ground. Sage rulers, peerless kings. Lin Feng's heart started pounding. He had never heard of such people before. He had never met such cultivators either. People who could transcend worldliness and attain holiness? People who were not affected by the rules of the world? People who could break free from the kiliacosm? For such people, Tao was just another strength. What is the cultivation level of sage rulers? Murmured Lin Feng. Maybe, murmured Ancestor Shirtian. Suddenly he stopped and smiled. If there are stronger cultivators than peerless kings, then they definitely control the gods and spiritual beings. If you want to know whether such people really exist, you'll have to go and search for the answer yourself. Ancestor, I have the feeling I will soon understand Tao's strength, but I can't touch it. How should I go about this? Asked Lin Feng. Forget about it. Tao models itself after nature. Today you can't, but someday, you'll suddenly understand something, and you'll be able to touch it, replied Ancestor Shirtian with a knowing smile. Tao models itself after nature. Forget, murmured Lin Feng. Ancestor Shirtian nodded. Many cultivators of the Huangqi layer start understanding Tao when they reach the top of the Huangqi layer. But it's not something you can understand that easily. It's something that just happens. It's fate. Some people have an advantage. They have marks of the path. They can use them to understand Tao faster. But as usual, it's good to make steady progress incrementally. And if you can't touch it, it doesn't matter, forget about it. Tao models itself after nature, just accept that. I see. I wasn't trying to understand the right thing then. I have to be patient and seize the right opportunities. Lin Feng smiled. Lin Feng understood he had to experience life and death to understand life and death Tao. Tao wasn't a special spell. Cultivators couldn't practice cultivation, and meditate to study Tao. Lin Feng wondered when he would be able to understand that mysterious Tao. Is there anything I can help you with in terms of cultivation? Ancestor Shirtian asked. Lin Feng was very talented, so he was happy to help him. It was an honor for an ancestor to watch such an incredible young man grow up. He hoped that someday Lin Feng would be able to surpass him. Ancestor, my cultivation is complex. I understand many kinds of strength, but some of them are really powerful and giving them up would be a pity. But what should I do? Asked Lin Feng. You have to choose the things which allow you to be as strong as possible, which help you in battles. For example, your ancient imprints technique. Choose what can help you during battles, for example your deployment spells. Choose things which you can't use now, but which have an incredible potential, like the 9 Netherworlds demonic song. Besides that, use the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to help you understand some side types of strength, and give up the rest forever. It is a pity, but they are already useless. Lin Feng nodded. It was difficult for him to assess his own situation. Sometimes other people had more insight. Lin Feng hadn't thought Ancestor Shirtian would understand him so well though. Ancient imprints, deployment spells, 9 Netherworlds demonic song, Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Ancestor Shirtian already knew almost everything Lin Feng knew. It's difficult when you're talented to make decisions. You have so many options. Talented people have access to so many skills, spells, techniques, and ancient scriptures. But as you become stronger, you realize you can't learn and master everything. If someday you realize a certain type of strength can be useful, it might not be too late, explained Ancestor Shirtian. Lin Feng nodded. He knew that. He had many books, spells, techniques, and powers. He had already chosen the best scriptures for himself. The indestructible Devamara scriptures, the 3 live scriptures, and the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. He also had the Godly Awareness Palace, and now had the Wisdom King scriptures, a perfect combination. He didn't need more scriptures for now. Anything else? Asked Ancestor Shirtian. Lin Feng looked pensive for a few seconds and smiled. When I become a high-level emperor, I may have more questions. All right. Ancestor Shirtian nodded. Lin Feng bowed and turned around. Do you want to take the exam to become a champion? A university champion? Ancestor Shirtian asked him. When I reach the top of the Huangqi layer, I won't need a crown to dissuade people. I will already be able to defeat anyone. Lin Feng replied calmly, without turning around. Ancestor Shirtian laughed. Arrogant little boy. Ancestor Shirtian liked him. Tao models itself after nature. When you achieve enlightenment, you break free from the great Tao. When you understand Tao intent, stop focusing on cosmic energies. Cosmic energies are just an intermediary step before Tao. They're not the foundation of Tao. Your blue Uptala lotus contains Tao intent. It can help you fuse all your cosmic energies together. You can try and forget about the nature of cosmic energies, and you will see. Maybe that way they will continue fusing together, Ancestor Shirtian told him. Lin Feng suddenly stopped moving, then turned around and bowed again. Then he left the celestial mountain. Ancestor Shirtian watched Lin Feng leave and smiled in satisfaction. Old dude, how is my sense of judgment? Said Ancestor Shirtian. A silhouette appeared next to him, forming into Ancestor Xiantian. You think you have a good sense of judgment? Huffed Ancestor Shirtian, twitching his mouth. He said, because of you, he almost got killed by Ji Chang's club. And now you dare tell me that? Bullshit, you need to go through hardships to become stronger. Now he became much stronger, retorted Ancestor Xiantian. Then he smiled and said, hey, by the way, do you think he'll ever reach that level? Ancestor Shirtian's eyes glittered. It was his dream to transcend worldliness and attain holiness. If Champion University had such a cultivator, they'd become the best university and the rulers in the Dark Knight region. I don't know. The Holy City has existed for so many years. We have seen so many geniuses, many champions, and the best they've achieved was becoming holy great emperors. At our level, it's difficult to become stronger. But I hope he will succeed, sighed Ancestor Shirtian. He hoped Lin Feng would manage to become a peerless cultivator. But there was hope. As a medium-level emperor, he had defeated a champion. Chapter 1974. Path of the Great Imperial King in Champion University. Before the waterfall, Lin Feng was practicing cultivation. After having left the Celestial Mountain, he had done nothing but practice cultivation. He had stopped focusing on Tao, he focused on strength. "Brother," called out someone at that moment. Lin Feng opened his eyes and saw a young, slender and elegant woman. It was Xiaoya. "Little girl," said Lin Feng. He stood up and gave Xiaoya a welcome hug. Xiaoya usually didn't disturb him. What was going on? "Brother, Ying Cheng is going to become a great emperor. I want you to bring me to Great Emperor's Mountain," Xiaoya said to Lin Feng. Great Emperor's Mountain was a mysterious mountain in the Holy City. Its summit reached the sky, and it contained celestial qi. People liked to go there to study the strength of the earth and sky. Many strong cultivators went there when they sensed that they were about to break through to the Di Qi layer. "Ying Cheng is finally going to break through," murmured Lin Feng. During the Pathfinder event, Ying Cheng had sensed he was about to break through to the Di Qi layer. Many days had passed and finally, he was going to break free from the Huang Qi layer. He was going to become a great emperor, a level many people dreamt of reaching someday in their life. Even in the Holy City, great emperors were considered extremely strong cultivators. Even though they weren't considered extremely strong in some ancient clans, at the scale of the Dark Knight region, where there were many weak people, great emperors were considered incredible. Many great emperors decided to create their own sects and clans. Great Emperor Qing in Qingdi Mountain, and the leader of Sword Mountain, their leaders were all great emperors. The Di Qi layer was divided into 3 levels. They were strong enough to create sects and clans. Then, there were the Celestial Emperors. They were great and respected scholars who could create ancient clans, travel the world free and unfettered, and had few enemies. And there were Holy Great Emperors. That cultivation level already had the word holy in it. Those people could travel anywhere in the continent of the 9 clouds. There was no place they couldn't go. They usually had an incredible social status, and they could create ancient holy clans. Most people in the world admired them. Most people didn't know what there was above the Di Qi layer. Such people had managed to transcend worldliness and attain holiness. They had broken free from the great Tao. They were like gods in the world, totally legendary. Maybe the people who were at the head of shrines were people like that, peerless kings, people who had managed to transcend worldliness and attain holiness. Sage kings, holy kings, peerless kings. For many people, people who managed to become champions in the Holy City, had the potential to become such cultivators. There was hope for them. But to Lin Feng, such things were not important. The most important thing was to become as strong as possible. Someday he'd rule over the world. Ying Cheng, who was a champion, was going to become a great emperor now. "All right, let's go to Great Emperor's Mountain," nodded Lin Feng. "Thank you, brother," said Xiaoya, jumping into Lin Feng's arms. Lin Feng smiled wryly. "Even though you're still a little girl to me, you're a grown-up now. I will find a husband for you." "How dare you? I'm not talking to you anymore," said Xiaoya, beating his chest with her small fists. "All right, I won't then, I'm too scared of you," replied Lin Feng, caressing her head. They left together. When students saw Lin Feng in Champion University, they looked at him with eyes full of admiration. That was Lin Feng, a medium-level emperor, who had defeated Ji Chang the champion. He had become the 3rd cultivator of the imperial ranking list. He was a real genius, a superstar. "Brother Lin Feng," said some people, bowing before Lin Feng. They were from Tiantai. Tiantai was starting to surpass Ji Chang's club. The Stone Group and Ji Chang's club used to oppress Tiantai, but those days were over. Ji Chang's club had lost some of their most outstanding cultivators, so now they really wanted to recruit more people. They were in a rush. Because of that, Yin Qingyan was also very busy. They had created new subgroups in Tiantai. The core disciples managed them, and were in charge of the whole organization. Ho Qinglin was still in charge of taking people abroad to practice and become stronger. Xing Zhan was in charge of the training. Only Lin Feng did nothing. Each time Yin Qingyan saw him, she kept complaining. Of course, Lin Feng had already become a symbol in Tiantai. Tiantai couldn't be Tiantai without him. These days, Tiantai's people could walk within Champion University freely without having to worry. Great Emperor's Mountain was a gigantic mountain, its peak piercing through the clouds. It was located in a boundless mountain range. There was a terrifying ocean of qi at the top of the smaller mountains around Great Emperor's Mountain. Many people had gathered, having heard that Ing Cheng was going to become a great emperor. It was a great opportunity to see someone become a great emperor. It was a rare thing to see, even in the holy city. Each time some became a great emperor, many people wanted to watch. At the top of Great Emperor's Mountain, a silhouette was seated cross-legged and looking at the sky. He was absorbing the strength of the earth and sky. Clouds were forming above him. It was a spectacular sight. Path of the Great Imperial King, auspicious heavens. Ing Cheng had been there for 3 days, more and more people arriving from everywhere in the holy city. Even now people kept arriving unceasingly. Lin Feng and Xiaoye also arrived and landed on the top of a mountain. They looked at the top of Great Emperor's Mountain, where Ing Cheng waited. Becoming a great emperor is incredible. Your soul and the earth and sky fuse together. The strength of the earth and sky cleanse your body. Great emperor's energies don't disperse for a very long time. The longer the energies remain, the more spectacular it is, and the more potential a person has, murmured Lin Feng, gazing into the distance. Ing Cheng's path was different from Emperor Wu Tianjian's path. Ing Cheng was walking on the path of a great imperial king. When the water comes, a channel is naturally formed, and when conditions are ripe, success is naturally achieved. That's how Ing Cheng was going to level up. Ing Cheng had sensed that he was going to break through to the Di-Qi layer, so he had tried to consolidate his foundation. Lin Feng glanced around. Some people looked at him in a friendly way, or indifferently, and some others looked at him coldly. Lin Feng ignored everyone though. He just remained normal and calmly watched Ing Cheng. "You're Lin Feng," said an old man at that moment. That old man had white hair and eyebrows. He looked peaceful and kind, with the demeanor of a transcendent being. He also looked unfathomable and enigmatic. "Who are you, master?" Lin Feng replied to the old man. He had suspicions. "I'm a nobody. I live in the mountains," smiled the old man. He looked very warm and gentle. He smiled at Lin Feng and said, "I saw you on Pathfinder Day. You're very talented." I was amazed. "You understand 10 sorts of abstruse energies, if I'm not mistaken?" "Indeed," nodded Lin Feng. He controlled 10 sorts of abstruse energies. He had never hidden it, so it wasn't a secret anymore. Not bad at all. For many people, it's very difficult to understand one kind of Dao strength, but you already understand a dual Dao strength. You can also make many sorts of strength fuse together. I can't wait to see how strong you'll be when you perfectly understand Dao," the old man smiled. Lin Feng laughed but said nothing. He didn't know why the old man was telling him these things. "My Dao and the Dao you want to achieve are similar. Do you want to sense it?" asked the old man smiling. Lin Feng had doubts but nodded. "If you offer your help, I better accept deferentially than decline courteously." "All right, look at me," said the old man smiled. Lin Feng looked at the old man's eyes. For a few seconds, he had the sensation he had ended up in another world, like an illusion. "Now try to fuse your cosmic energies," said the old man. Lin Feng nodded and stretched out his hands. He released cosmic energies and suddenly, Lin Feng was stupefied. It felt like he had made them fuse together. But at the same time it was as if something had prevented him from completely condensing them. "You might have made a mistake in your learning. That's why this thing happens. Relax, I will show you something about your understanding," said a voice in the illusion. Lin Feng let his energies flow naturally. The old man's voice was warm, which helped him relax. A mysterious strength penetrated into his brain. Dao models itself after nature. Dao requires good luck. You cannot reach the goal in one step. Lin Feng remembered what ancestor Shirtian had told him. Suddenly, his consciousness became extremely wide, and loud sounds spread out in his head. Lin Feng shouted explosively, "Piss off!" Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the old man icily. His eyes were filled with death qi. "Piss off," said Lin Feng to the old man. The old man just kept smiling. Lin Feng looked at Xiaoya, who was lying on the ground asleep. Lin Feng understood that that old man had studied the Dream of Life ancient scriptures, or something similar. He was an expert at creating illusions. Chapter 1975. Trying to assassinate Ying Cheng. Little boy, don't be angry. I'm helping you, said the white-bearded old man, smiling in a gentle way. He looked a little bit evil though. Bastard, you're a great emperor, and you're trying to attack my memories. Which clan are you from? Lin Feng took Xiaoya in his arms and moved back a few steps, staring at the old man. The old man was extremely dangerous. He could make people fall asleep, and had tried to attack him. He was probably from a group Lin Feng had offended. The old man's kind face suddenly changed. He looked at Lin Feng coldly. Lin Feng sensed oppressive energies and had cold sweats. It was as if his body were about to explode. He could barely move, so he couldn't escape. He's so strong, he must be a celestial emperor, thought Lin Feng in astonishment. The old man rolled up his sleeves, and a terrifying strength smashed Lin Feng away. Lin Feng kept staring at him. You ignorant baby, don't think that because you are a bit talented, you can do whatever you wish. You're in the holy city here, and no matter how strong you are, you'll never be able to compete with ancient holy clans. In front of me, you are a tiny little insect, a nobody, an insignificant person, shouted the white-bearded old man furiously. He looked extremely angry. Lin Feng looked at him and smiled coldly. At least I'm honest. Could you tell me who you are? I'm from the Ji clan. My name is Ji Qing Song, replied the old man icily. Ji Qing Song, repeated Lin Feng before saying, the Ji clan doesn't dare kill me, so you're trying to affect my memories, and they sent a celestial emperor to oppress and humiliate me? How ridiculous. You will regret what you did today. Empty words, piss off, said Ji Qing Song. He rolled up his sleeves again. Lin Feng had the sensation of an explosive strength surrounded him again. He suddenly coughed up blood. He looked at Ji Qing Song icily and left with Xiaoya. Ji Qing Song was annoyed. He initially wanted to attack Lin Feng's memories, to see if he could get a grasp on the celestial evolution holy scriptures. But he hadn't thought Lin Feng would be so careful. Even in the Great Dream, Lin Feng had managed to remain vigilant and break free. He had failed even though he was so close to success. He had only been able to humiliate Lin Feng in the end. But it didn't matter. He had managed to extract many secrets from that little girl's memories. Lin Feng and Xiaoya landed on another peak. Lin Feng woke her up, and she looked at him in surprise. Bro, what's wrong with me? Nothing. We met a guy from the Ji clan, and he made you fall asleep using an illusionary dream technique, smiled Lin Feng softly. A strong cultivator from the Ji clan dream technique. Xiaoya was stupefied. She had just had a very strange dream. In her dream, someone had asked her who she was, what her relation with Lin Feng was. She had told them everything. What's the matter, Xiaoya? Asked Lin Feng after he saw that her expression had changed drastically. Nothing, bro. When we go back to university, I'll go back to the small world. Xiaoya smiled. Lin Feng had his doubts but nodded. The cloud of qi was becoming bigger and bigger in the sky. Ying Cheng was absorbing the strength of the earth and sky. Soul strength was rotating around him. His map of several countries, and their altars to the gods of earth and grain appeared behind him. At the same time, waves of energies pulsed and surged all around him. The sky became chaotic, displaying Ying Cheng's Tao strength. He's going to become a great emperor. Many people's eyes twinkled. The sky became strange. Dazzling lights appeared all around him. His qi was fusing together with the earth and sky. He broke through. Those watching were impressed. A new great emperor had appeared in the holy city. He had reached a legendary cultivation level. Many champions had incredible destinies. Many of them became powerful and influential in the continent of the Nine Clouds. They had their statues with their names in all the different academic institutions. And now one of them had just become a great emperor. For Ying Cheng, it was a huge step. At that moment, the scenery looked spectacular. Threads of energies emitted whistling sounds. The earth and sky kept shaking. At that moment, An explosive and majestic strength invaded the whole region. It felt like the sky was about to collapse. That's Ying Cheng's strength. Those watching were astonished. What kind of chi was that? Ying Cheng had become that strong? Xiaoya's beautiful eyes kept twinkling. They were wide open in awe. Ying Cheng's face changed drastically. He looked like an ancient god. Ying Cheng escape! Shouted someone at that moment furiously. Many strong cultivators started racing towards Great Emperor's Mountain. An illusionary dragon elephant appeared. The atmosphere seemed to be collapsing. There was a terrifying destructive energy enveloping Ying Cheng. Thunderous boom and ear-splitting crackling spread out. A dazzling light beam appeared around Ying Cheng. Ying Cheng was bathing in those lights from another world, stars twinkling all about him. However, at that moment, the world finally broke apart. Ying Cheng broke a talisman and turned into a light beam. He had broken his protection talisman. His new enemies were now much stronger. Without his chaotic sky talisman, he wouldn't have been able to do much. Explosions and crackling sounds kept spreading out. Great Emperor's Mountain started exploding as Ying Cheng appeared in an empty space. He had two treasures from the Ying clan. The first one was an item which protected his life automatically, and he was using the second one. A gigantic hand appeared in the sky, moving towards a strong cultivator of the Ying clan. The strong cultivator was attacked by a roaring dragon elephant. It had the strength of a holy great emperor. The difference between celestial emperors and holy great emperors was astonishing. Rumbling and explosion sounds spread out. The area kept exploding. The strong cultivators of the Ying clan were hurled away. Their faces turned deathly pale. Ying Cheng had broken through, and some people were trying to kill him. In the distance, a gigantic dazzling sun appeared and charged towards the mountain. Who's that strong cultivator? Thought the crowd. After a short time, the atmosphere became calm again. You dare attack the Ying clan like that? Aren't you afraid that some incredible people of my clan could come to your clan and destroy it completely? Spoke a terrifying voice at that moment. Many people shuddered with fear. Don't forget what we said back then. If you offend my clan, I'll destroy yours, said another extremely loud voice. It was impossible to detect where the chi came from. He came back. The crowd was astonished. 20 years had passed, and he was now back and wanted to kill Ying Cheng. He had even become a holy great emperor. But the Ying clan had given Ying Cheng many things to protect himself. They had to be extremely vigilant. In the holy city, many people had heard about those things. They knew perfectly well who that cultivator was. His grandson had died because of Ying Cheng. The Ying clan had also killed many people of his clan. In return, they had also killed many people from the Ying clan. A strong cultivator of the Ying clan had chased him, and he had disappeared. Now 20 years had passed, and he still wanted to get his revenge. Back then, Ying Cheng used to be a low-level emperor, and had just joined the Celestial Godly University. Now he was a great emperor. Many people had forgotten about these matters. 20 years was a lot of time, and Ying Cheng was so talented that becoming a celestial emperor wouldn't be an issue. Chapter 1976. Threat. However, someone who had just become a great emperor couldn't fight against a holy great emperor. After breaking the talisman, Ying Cheng ran away. Ying Cheng would have died without his talisman. The chaotic sky strength slowly dispersed. The grandiose chi dispersed too. Back then, the Ying clan had managed to force the celestial emperor to escape. Now he had become a holy great emperor. It would be even more difficult to kill him. Lin Feng's eyes were gleaming. Someone was trying to kill Ying Cheng? A strong cultivator from the medicine clan. Lin Feng was astonished. Tantai's tribe. Tantai had told him back then, when he was a kid, a terrifying cultivator had risen in his tribe and had gone to the Celestial Godly University to study. Ying Cheng and that cultivator used to be considered as the most outstanding geniuses of the university. The young man had even defeated Ying Cheng. At the beginning, they were good friends, but then Ying Cheng had killed him with some strange method. That young man was Ling Tian, and many people believed Ying Cheng had used sly methods to kill him. When Tantai had told Ling Tian about those things, he was furious. In the medicine clan, many people became strong slowly. Their grand talents matured slowly, but in the end they could be terrifyingly strong. Ling Tian back then was a bit like Chu Chunqiu. Xiaoya. Lin Feng suddenly turned around and looked at Xiaoya, who was staring at the sky. I'm all right, said Xiaoya, coming back to her senses. Brother, let's go back. All right, said Lin Feng, nodded. However, at that moment a silhouette came up next to them. It was Ji Qingsong. Lin Feng frowned and his eyes glittered. Don't rush. I have good news for you, Ji Qingsong smiled. Then he said to Lin Feng using telepathy. Tell me, if the Ying clan knew about your relation to him, what would they do? Lin Feng looked at him icily. Relation to him? Ji Qingsong stared at Lin Feng, and then at Xiaoya. Xiaoya looked extremely nervous. Haha, don't tell me you don't know Xiao Wutian, said Ji Qingsong, still using telepathy. Lin Feng was startled. Xiao Wutian, Mr. Xiao? What does that have to do with Mr. Xiao? Lin Feng looked thoughtful. But suddenly he remembered something. Medicine, the Medicine Clan. Don't bring Xiaoya to the holy city. Lin Feng's face suddenly changed drastically. His heart started pounding. He looked at the sky. Mr. Xiao? You remember, it seems. Lin Feng, how would the Ying clan react if they knew that the little girl next to you is Xiao Wutian's granddaughter? Xiao Ling Tian's biological little sister. Can you guess? Said Ji Qingsong, still using telepathy. Lin Feng's face kept twitching. Ling Tian, Xiao Ling Tian, Xiao Wutian's grandson. Lin Feng looked at Xiaoya. He understood many things suddenly. His eyes twinkled and he said, You're a great emperor. You're attacked a young woman using a dream technique. You're a despicable bastard. Little insolent bastard. Don't worry, continue insulting me. However, let me tell you one thing. Right now, give me the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Otherwise, the Ying clan will know your little secret really soon. Even Champion University won't be able to protect you and that little girl. The tensions between the Ying clan and Xiao Wutian go beyond your imagination. Champion University can't get involved. Xiao Wutian's life is in peril, said Ji Qingsong icily. This was the perfect time for Xiao Wutian to show up. He could use him to threaten Lin Feng. You want the Ji clan to get involved in Xiao Wutian and the Ying clan's issues? Replied Lin Feng icily. I'm not from the Xiao clan. I just consider Xiaoya like my little sister. No matter what the Ying clan thinks, they won't dare attack me. However, if the Ying clan dares capture Xiaoya, I'll tell Xiao Wutian about you, Ji Qingsong. And then Xiao Wutian will get very, very angry at the Ji clan. Ji Qingsong's face stiffened. Lin Feng was threatening him? You don't care about that little girl's life, said Ji Qingsong icily. You're a despicable bastard. Even if I accept a compromise, you won't stop and I will have nowhere to hide. So I have no other choice, said Lin Feng firmly. He couldn't submit, especially to such a despicable man. Are you sure? Said Ji Qingsong, coldly releasing cold chi. He looked at Xiaoya and said, If that girl ends up in the Ying clan's hands, it will be a nightmare. If the Ji clan gets involved, get ready to see all the young people of the Ji clan die in atrocious conditions. How many holy great emperors does the Ji clan have to protect them all? Even if you go back to the Ji clan, the situation might become dangerous for you. I'll tell Xiao Wutian to watch the Ji clan closely, retorted Lin Feng icily. Then he turned around, took Xiaoya's hands and said, Let's go. They left. Ji Qingsong stared at Lin Feng's back in an evil way. Back then, Xiao Wutian had killed many strong cultivators of the Ying clan. The Ying clan had turned into an inescapable net and sent people to Xiao Wutian's tribe. After that, Xiao Wutian had stopped killing people from the Ying clan. To prevent a massacre, Xiao Wutian and the Ying clan had agreed to kill only people who were directly related by blood to Xiao Wutian or to Yingcheng. Xiao Wutian was terrifyingly strong, and his concealment techniques were incredible. Thanks to his concealment techniques, the Ying clan hadn't managed to corner him when he was a celestial emperor. In the end, they had still found him and injured him. So he had left the holy city. More than 20 years had passed. Xiao Wutian had now become a holy great emperor and come back. The first person he wanted to kill was Yingcheng. If the Ji clan got involved, Xiao Wutian would definitely slaughter them like he had done the Ying clan back then. Ji Qing Song had to be very careful. Xiaoya, did you know it was your grandfather? Lin Feng asked Xiaoya as they were flying. Her beautiful eyes glittered. She understood that Lin Feng knew. Brother, I didn't know he would come either. But I know that during the few days it took Ying Chung to break through, my grandpa might come back because it was the best timing, replied Xiaoya in a gentle voice. She felt guilty. So many years had passed. She had had the premonition her grandfather would come back to the holy city, and now it had happened. Don't worry, little girl. Mr. Xiao has now become incredibly strong. The Ying clan can't do much against him, said Lin Feng, caressing her hair and smiling. When we arrive, I'll send you to the small world. If Ji Qing Song tells people about your secret, it could become dangerous for you. In the small world, nobody can find you. The Ying clan won't do anything to me directly either. All right, good, Xiaoya nodded. She knew it was important. If Ji Qing Song hadn't been there, nobody would have guessed who she was. She had already grown up. But now Ji Qing Song knew her secret, and her grandfather had come back. She had to be very careful. In front of Lin Feng's boat, a cloud appeared and a silhouette solidified within it. Lin Feng was startled and stopped quickly. Grandfather, murmured Xiaoya. The silhouette turned around, revealing an old man with many wrinkles. He still looked like an ordinary old man, he hadn't changed. Mr. Xiao. Lin Feng smiled at Mr. Xiao. The old man came over to the boat and pinched Xiaoya's cheeks. He smiled and said in a gentle way, My little Xiaoya, you're a grown-up now and you look so beautiful. Grandfather. Xiaoya answered happily, hugging her grandfather. She immediately started crying. Mr. Xiao smiled wryly. He caressed her hair and said, You're an adult now, don't cry like a little girl. Mr. Xiao looked at Lin Feng and smiled. Little Lin Feng, you're a big boy too now. I hope keeping Xiaoya with you wasn't too troublesome. Mr. Xiao, without you, I would be dead. Xiaoya is like a sister to me. There's nothing troublesome about it. Lin Feng smiled. Mr. Xiao nodded. Back then, I had noticed you were really strong and had potential, but I would have never thought you'd become so strong so quickly. You're still in your 20s, and you're already famous in the holy city. An extraordinary person. You remind me of my grandson. I hope that someday, you'll become a great king in the region and the continent. I will, stated Lin Feng, nodding and clenching his fists. He was very self-confident. It was necessary to become a peerless cultivator. But Mr. Xiao, we have a problem. Ji Qing Song from the Ji clan inspected Xiaoya's memories using a dream technique and cheated her. He now knows who she is, and he also threatened me, said Lin Feng to Mr. Xiao. He had to be honest. Mr. Xiao's eyes glittered with ice-cold lights and he said, I know Ji Qing Song. He poses as a person of high morals. He has the demeanor of a transcendent being. But he's truly devious. He would dare to do anything. I'll go and kill him. Chapter 1977. Plotting against Ji Qing Song. When Lin Feng heard Mr. Xiao, he was startled and said, Mr. Xiao, if you go and kill him openly, the Ji clan will be infuriated. It wouldn't be good for you. We need to do it secretly. Do you have any ideas? Mr. Xiao asked him. He wanted to get his revenge and kill Ying Chung. But if he offended the Ji clan too, it would be even more difficult. Having to deal with the Ying clan was already difficult enough. Ji Qing Song threatened me. I will tell him we should meet alone. And at that moment, you'll have the opportunity to attack. You'll need to do it secretly and in one strike. That way, the Ji clan won't know it was you, said Lin Feng. Mr. Zhao's eyes glittered. If we do that, the Ji clan will inspect your memories and find out about it. I'm just a medium-level emperor. The Ji clan wouldn't think I killed Ji Qing Song. That would be impossible, smiled Lin Feng. Mr. Xiao nodded agreement. Besides, Lin Feng was also backed up by Champion University. If the Ji clan said that the cultivator's death had something to do with Lin Feng would ask the elders of Champion University for help. The Ji clan wasn't strong enough to pressure Champion University. Mr. Xiao, what do you intend to do in the future? Lin Feng asked Mr. Xiao. Don't worry about me, laughed Mr. Xiao. His chi changed, and he looked like an ordinary old man again. He also changed his face and smiled at Lin Feng. He was a consummately skilled cultivator. Let's find a place to land. Then, I'll make Ji Qing Song come, and you can kill him secretly, said Lin Feng to Mr. Xiao. Mr. Xiao nodded. The three of them continued flying, and arrived in a boundless place, somewhere people wouldn't notice them. Lin Feng, Mr. Xiao and Xiaoye landed and someone appeared. If the Ji clan had seen that person, they would have recognized him, Ji Jiang. Ji Jiang and Ji Qing Song were related by blood. Ji Jiang hadn't changed. He looked colder though his eyes had become darker. His qi was also colder. It was impossible to notice something was different. Lin Feng controlled him. The demon puppet technique of the ancient demon clan was complex. To control someone, one couldn't injure them. They had to be perfectly fit. His talent didn't change either. It was much more efficient, but much more complex than Master Mi's technique back then. And Master Mi had only been able to control people who weren't too strong. Ji Qing Song spent some time at Great Emperor's Mountain, and then headed back to the Ji clan. He was seated on a cloud and flew slowly. He kept thinking about his plots. Lin Feng was sly and bold. Surprisingly, he hadn't managed to influence the young man. Lin Feng had even threatened him back. Now he was wondering how he could fool Lin Feng. Ji Qing Song really wanted the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. But he only knew two people in the Holy City who had the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, Lin Feng and Chu Chunqiu. They were both incredible cultivators, and were both on the imperial ranking list. It was impossible to attack them, especially since they were backed up by the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures and Champion University. But he was still trying to find a method. Even if he couldn't get the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, he wouldn't let Lin Feng off, especially now that he knew some of his secrets. As Ji Qing Song was thinking up a plot, he was also getting closer and closer to the Ji clan. At that moment, someone rose up in the air to greet him. Grandpa. Ji Qing Song was surprised when he saw Ji Jiang. He frowned and asked, Ji Jiang, what's wrong with you? You disappeared for such a long time. What happened when you went and chased Lin Feng with the others? Grandpa, Gao and I are the only ones still alive. Lin Feng imprisoned us. He's really strong. Ji Jiang looked extremely sad. Ji Qing Song nodded and said, I know, I saw him during the Pathfinder Day. He's terrifyingly strong. How did you escape? He released me willingly, said Ji Jiang. Ji Qing Song was stupefied. Why would Lin Feng do that? Grandpa, thank you. He asked me who you were to me, I told him. And then he released me. He told me he wanted to meet you. He said he was ready to pay the price, but only once, said Ji Jiang slowly. Ji Qing Song's eyes twinkled and he said to Ji Jiang, Did he tell you anything else? Only that. What's going on, Grandpa? Don't worry about it. He went back to Champion University so quickly and released you? No, Lin Feng has a precious treasure, a kind of golden tower. I was imprisoned in that tower with Gao and some members of the Yuan clan. He's still not far from Great Emperor's Mountain, replied Ji Jiang. Did he ask you to lead the way? Asked Ji Qing Song. Grandpa, I don't want to go back. Ji Jiang started shaking. Good for nothing, I'm here. Why would you be afraid? Said Ji Qing Song angrily. His eyes kept glittering, wondering if Lin Feng had plotted anything. And what was Lin Feng's exact relationship with Xiao Wutian? Maybe that they had been in touch the whole time, and he wanted the old man to kill him. Ji Qing Song had many doubts. He had always been vigilant, especially at his cultivation level. He was a celestial emperor. Lin Feng said he was waiting for you and that even without me, you'd easily find him, Ji Jiang pressed. Ji Qing Song nodded and said, All right, go back to the clan and see the leader. He's been looking for you the whole time. Yes, sir. Ji Jiang nodded and left. Ji Qing Song took out a talisman and returned in the direction of Great Emperor's Mountain once again. When Ji Qing Song arrived at the mountain range, he noticed a mountain where Lin Feng was indeed there. Everybody else had left. Lin Feng, did you decide to ensure your safety by giving me the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures? Asked Ji Qing Song, frowning and staring at Lin Feng. I can't give you the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, but I can give you some other ancient scriptures which are about soul strength. All right, Show me the ancient scriptures first though, let me see if I need them, said Ji Qing Song, narrowing his eyes. Watch carefully, said Lin Feng indifferently. His eyes gradually became pitch black. He started chanting, and a mysterious strength emerged from his eyes. Flames suddenly appeared in his eyes, and a Yaksa king appeared, holding a gigantic steel fork. He looked imposing and awe-inspiring, like a bodhisattva who wanted to kill demons, with 3 heads and 6 arms. He could attack people's souls. You're just a medium-level emperor, and the power of that skill is already explosive, observed Ji Qing Song. He remained silent for a few seconds as everything disappeared. That's something I learnt from the Wisdom King's scriptures. You can learn how to visualize the 5 Wisdom Kings. They are very powerful Buddhist scriptures. You just saw one of the Wisdom Kings, Vajrayaksa. What do you think? Lin Feng asked evenly. Ji Qing Song smiled and said, Great. Transmit the scriptures to me using your godly awareness. All right. I will transmit the scriptures to you using my godly awareness. But don't forget what I said, I won't do this twice, said Lin Feng coldly. Of course, and I will keep your secret, said Ji Qing Song smiled. Let's go somewhere else. The content is gigantic, the transfer will take time. Let's go into the valley, said Lin Feng, starting down the mountain. Ji Qing Song spoke up. Wait. What else do you want? Lin Feng asked coldly. You see that talisman, my godly awareness is inside it. I've transmitted my godly awareness to my family. If I die, they will immediately know your secret, said Ji Qing Song, put another thread of godly awareness inside the talisman, and smiled coldly. He had no choice. Lin Feng knew Mr. Xiao. He had to be vigilant. Lin Feng's face changed. Ji Qing Song noticed that and said, Don't worry, I gave it to my family. I didn't tell anyone else. If I don't die, nobody will know about your secret. My son will be your secret. You're a great emperor and you need to play such little games with a little emperor, said Lin Feng coldly. I don't know your friends. I must be vigilant, rebutted Ji Qing Song shamelessly. Just come with me, said Lin Feng, moving down into the valley. Ji Qing Song followed after Lin Feng. He was sure there was no danger now. At that moment, Ji Jiang was telling the members of the Ji clan what Lin Feng had told him. His silhouette flickered as he headed to Ji Qing Song's place. Ji Qing Song had bullied Lin Feng and Xiaoya, and threatened them and pried into Xiaoya's memories. Lin Feng was going to be merciless. Chapter 1978. Great Battle. There were many valleys along Great Emperor's Mountain. Ji Qing Song and Lin Feng landed in one smoothly. Is it good here? Asked Ji Qing Song. This valley is so deep. Even if you need time to transmit the scriptures to me, I don't think anyone will find us. All right, open your godly awareness then, Lin Feng said after stopping. He turned around and looked at Ji Qing Song. Threads of godly awareness appeared and moved towards Ji Qing Song. Ji Qing Song's soul was extremely strong. Lin Feng couldn't attack him by surprise. He opened his godly awareness and actually received a book. It was an incredible book, representing extensive knowledge and profound scholarship. But Ji Qing Song didn't feel relaxed at all. He remained extremely vigilant. He wanted to leave as soon as possible. A cold wind started blowing. Many talismans appeared in Lin Feng's hands and suddenly exploded. He disappeared from there and reappeared high up in the air. He sealed the atmosphere higher up in the valley, as someone else also came out. Oh no! Ji Qing Song's face changed drastically. Suddenly, he rose up in the air and turned into an illusion. However, he heard some dragon elephants and the rumbling of a stampede. Explosions started all around him. An illusionary dragon elephant appeared, and the earth and sky started shaking violently. Lin Feng left the valley without turning around. Even from very far away, he could hear extremely loud explosions of power. His heart was pounding. As Lin Feng had expected, many people heard the battle and rushed over. They couldn't see precisely what was going on, but when they saw the mountains shaking, they didn't dare get too close. Extremely strong cultivators were fighting. A destructive qi resonated for a long time before the energies dispersed. The mountains had exploded, and the entire landscape had changed. Nobody came out to be seen, but in the distance, A silhouette came out of a mountain and left. At the same time in the Ji clan something happened. Ji Qingsong's son, who was about to become a great emperor, had been killed. It was a tragedy. Who dared kill their people, and on top of that in their territory? And people who were direct descendants of the lineage. And there had been no battle at all. As if he had been killed easily. An assassin had probably killed him, when he didn't expect it. The members of the Ji clan didn't know what to think. According to Ji Qingsong's daughter-in-law, Ji Jiang had talked to her husband, and then he had died. Some people had seen Ji Jiang. He had really come back. Many people had even talked to him. And then he had disappeared again. But Ji Jiang didn't go and see the elders. He hadn't even gone to see his parents. It was as if something had been on the verge of coming out into the open. At that moment, the leader of the Ji clan and some other people were standing next to the body, and many other people were still arriving. Why would Ji Jiang want to kill him? Asked a strong cultivator of the Ji clan. They didn't understand, nobody understood. What was his goal? Ji Jiang disappeared while chasing Lin Feng. And then he reappeared out of nowhere and killed his own family? What the hell happened? Asked a strong cultivator, looking at the leader of the Ji clan. He was covered with cold sweat. The leader of the Ji clan frowned and asked, "What's wrong?" "Grandpa Qingsong's talisman is broken," said that person, swallowing anxiously. The leader of the Ji clan was astonished and suddenly looked furious. The situation was becoming extremely complex. Qingsong was a celestial emperor. He was as strong as me, who could kill me. And why would Ji Jiang come and kill his son? What is this sorcery? The leader of the Ji clan was astonished, his heart pounding violently. They had lost a celestial emperor. It was a terrible event for the Ji clan. Who was the last person to see Qingsong and where? "Let's check," said the leader of the Ji clan. He was furious. Ji Qingsong had died, he was a celestial emperor, and he was now dead. Then his son had been killed on their own territory by Ji Jiang. People in the Ying clan were furious too. Ying Cheng had been chased by someone who wanted to kill him. One of their celestial emperors had even been killed. And now, in the Ji clan, Ji Qingsong had died, a celestial emperor, and his son had been killed on their own territory. The Ji clan learned that Ji Qingsong had been seen on Great Emperor's Mountain, where Ying Cheng had broken through, and Lin Feng had talked to him for a while. He had last been seen not far from the gate of the Ji clan. He had accidentally bumped into Ji Jiang. Many people had seen that. Then, Ji Jiang had come back to the clan. Ji Qingsong had left. Some people even talked to Ji Jiang. Everything pointed to one person, Lin Feng. He had talked to Lin Feng at Great Emperor's Mountain, and Ji Jiang, who had disappeared for a while, had reappeared. But could it be Lin Feng? Could Lin Feng kill a celestial emperor? If they accused Lin Feng, Champion University, and many other people from the Holy City would make fun of them. What a pathetic excuse. However, how could they let Lin Feng off? Ji Qingsong and his son had died. What was going on? On the second day, it was said that two extremely strong cultivators had fought in the mountains near Great Emperor's Mountain. Maybe Ji Qingsong had died during that battle. Everybody knew that the killer wasn't Lin Feng, but who could it be? Lin Feng's only background was Champion University. They couldn't suspect Champion University. The Ying clan was furious and was looking for Xiao Wutian everywhere. The Ji clan was furious and hated Lin Feng even more. Even though they couldn't prove that Lin Feng was causing all these troubles, they were convinced it had something to do with him. But if they couldn't prove it, they couldn't accuse Lin Feng. The leader of the Ji clan went to the Ying clan. In a palace, a strong cultivator of the Ying clan, Ying Fa, asked the leader of the Ji clan, "Brother Ji, why did you come here?" Because Xiao Wutian had returned. The Ying clan had many things to take care of. "Brother Ying, you really want to capture and kill Xiao Wutian, right?" asked the leader of the Ji clan with a smile. Ying Fa nodded and said, "Of course, when Xiao Wutian dies, I'll bury my hate with him." "Brother Ying, Xiao Wutian can disguise himself, he's an expert at it. And now he's a saint emperor, you won't easily kill him. Do you have any suggestions, Brother Ji?" asked Ying Fa. "In the region, there is a clan who are experts at disguising themselves. You probably know this already," said the leader of the Ji clan. Ng Fa frowned. Of course he knew about them. But those people were from a shrine. Getting help from them would be too difficult or expensive. Brother Ji, you understand that even though the Ng clan is an ancient holy clan, we are not that influential. He won't see us, said Ng Fa. That's why I came. If the Ji clan and the Ng clan asks him for help together, he will definitely consider our request, said the leader of the Ji clan. Ng Fa frowned, his eyes glittered, and he said to the leader of the Ji clan, You would offer your help? What do you need me to do? I want Lin Feng, said the leader of the Ji clan icily. Ng Fa was startled and said, Champion University is powerful. If the Ji clan or the Ng clan attacks Lin Feng, everybody will say we acted without justification. No, they will think we did something with good reason, especially since we're not alone. The Yuan clan and the Pei clan will also help us. The leader of the Ji clan told Ng Fa firmly. Ng Fa's heart sped up. 4 ancient holy clans to deal with Lin Feng? That was a bit scary, especially since the Ng clan was powerful. Ng Fa's eyes glittered sharply, and he smiled. A few ancient holy clans against Lin Feng? There must be another reason. I'm sure you want Lin Feng's Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Chapter 1979. Destiny Vision. The leader of the Ji clan replied to Ng Fa. Lin Feng is the Ji clan's worst enemy. He may have plotted against one of our celestial emperors. We must capture him. But of course, if we can obtain the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, then everything would be even better. Ng Fa smiled inside. The leader of the Ji clan was acting ridiculous. If Lin Feng didn't have the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, the leader of the Ji clan wouldn't ask the Yuan clan, the Pei clan, and his Ng clan for help to counter Champion University. If several ancient holy clans joined hands, it was enough to shake the whole city. You're definitely interested in the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. I don't think the Yuan clan and the Pei clan will offer their help unless you give them the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. If so, the Ng clan must obtain them too, said Ng Fa. His eyes were twinkling. Brother Ng, the Ng clan's biggest problem is Xiao Wu Tian. Is getting help to deal with him not enough? Asked the leader of the Ji clan unhappily. However, Ng Fa just grunted coldly. If the Ji clan and the Yuan clan obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, they would become extremely strong, and that wouldn't be good for the balance of power. They would be able to surpass the Ng clan. Brother Ji, if you didn't need help to deal with Lin Feng, you wouldn't be offering your help. If you were alone, you'd need the Destiny Vision to help you deal with him and make sure he's at fault. Ng Fa smiled coldly. The leader of the Ji clan frowned unhappily. Ng Fa stood up and spoke firmly. The Ng clan can protect Ng Chung. Xiao Wu Tian won't dare come here to kill people, otherwise, we'll go to his tribe and kill his people. He's not such a big problem. Otherwise, we would ask Destiny Vision for help ourselves. Since you want to cooperate, you must pay the price. If you get the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, we must get them too. Otherwise, I'm not interested in a partnership. They were both old enough not to get cheated. The leader of the Ji clan remained silent in his seat. After a few minutes, he said, All right, we'll share the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures with you if we get them. But if we get other things, you can't ask us to share everything with you. Ng Fa slowly turned around and smiled. Brother Ji, you can be generous. Good, that's a deal. Go back to the Ji clan and get ready. Ng Fa was just interested in the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. He didn't think that Lin Feng had anything else he could want. Lin Feng didn't know that Ng Fa and the leader of the Ji clan were talking about him. He had killed Ji Qing Song, but without a good excuse, the Ji clan couldn't do much. He was a medium-level emperor. How could he have dealt with a celestial emperor? But Lin Feng underestimated their determination. They were an ancient holy clan after all. This was especially true after having seen how strong Chu Chunqiu and Lin Feng were during the Pathfinder Day. Many people were convinced that Lin Feng and Chu Chunqiu had the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, and that it was the reason why they were so talented. Lin Feng, Meng Qing, and Xiaoyu were standing in the sky of the holy city. Lin Wuxiang and Yin Yu were there too. The Yin clan had decided to cancel the wedding, and after that, they didn't go against Lin Wuxiang and Yin Yu's wills anymore. Lin Feng was right. Everything he had, he would give to his younger brother. Yin Yu and Lin Wuxiang's children would get everything Lin Feng had. And even though Lin Wuxiang wasn't from an ancient holy clan, he had an incredible brother. He might create a sect or a clan, and he would become famous. He just needed time. Since Yin Yu was in love with Lin Wuxiang, Yin Rui had decided to bet on Lin Feng's future. "Wuxiang, are you sure?" asked Lin Feng to Lin Wuxiang. "I am, brother. You've been traveling alone. I can't always stay with you, otherwise I'll never become strong enough." "I'm sure I want to leave," said Lin Wuxiang. Lin Feng looked solemn and grave. Even though he hoped Lin Wuxiang would become strong relying on his own self, he was also worried. It was his brother after all. Traveling alone in the Dark Night region, at 20 years old, was something difficult and dangerous. "Please be careful and send me news sometimes," said Lin Feng. He accepted Lin Wuxiang's choice, smiling and saying, "And take good care of little Yu." "I will," said Wuxiang, holding Yin Yu's hand. He smiled and said, "Bro, please spend more time with mom and dad. I'm not going to tell them goodbye, otherwise they'll be too sad and won't let me leave." "All right, go," smiled Lin Feng. "Indeed." Lin Wuxiang nodded. He looked at Xiaoya and Meng Qing. "Sister Meng Qing, Sister Xiaoya, take care. I'll come back to see you." "Bastard, if anything happens to you, I'll be really pissed off," said Xiaoya. Her eyes were red. She wanted to cry. She had almost raised him, and now he was leaving, off to travel with Yin Yu. "Sister Xiaoya, we'll meet again," smiled Wuxiang. "We're off." He turned around and left with Yin Yu, waving to them with his back turned. The couple then slowly disappeared in the distance. Lin Feng just sighed. Meng Qing was holding his hand. She murmured, "Wuxiang is a grown-up now. You can't protect him forever. It wouldn't be healthy." "I know," Lin Feng replied, smiling at her. Lin Wuxiang was Lin Feng's brother, but they belonged to two different generations, and Lin Wuxiang couldn't evolve in the same environment as Lin Feng. The cultivators they fought, and the places they went were different, not at the same level as Lin Wuxiang. He hoped his brother would stay safe. "Brother, I miss Wuxiang already," Xiaoya cried. Lin Feng sighed. He knew how Xiaoya felt about Wuxiang, almost like a mother. "Don't worry, he'll come back," said Lin Feng, caressing her cheek. The three of them turned around and left. Lin Feng spent lots of time with Mr. Xiao and Xiaoya. He didn't go back to Champion University. Mr. Xiao had become a saint emperor and could teach many things to Lin Feng. The holy city was gigantic. It wouldn't be easy to find them, especially now that Mr. Xiao had already put on a mask. Even the cultivators of the Ying clan wouldn't be able to recognize him. However, Lin Feng didn't realize that danger abounded all around. An old man wearing white clothes arrived in the Ying clan. He still looked full of vitality and vigor, not old at all. He looked enigmatic and extremely strong. The Ying clan, the Yuan clan, the Pei clan, and the Ji clan had gathered. There were many strong cultivators there, all who had come to greet the old man. He had an extraordinary social status. "Brother He, we're first going to give a welcome dinner in your honor," Ing Fa said politely. "No need. Let's focus on the most important things and not waste time," said He Xiao straightforwardly, shaking his head. Ing Fa nodded and replied, "We've told you about the situation already, Brother He. What do you think?" He Xiao looked at the leader of the Ji clan, who was called Ji Yuan, and said calmly, "Bring me to the place where Ji Qing Song died. I'll use my destiny vision to investigate." "All right," said Ji Yuan, nodded. The group of people rose up into the air and traveled to Great Emperor's Mountain. Many of its slopes had been blown apart. It was the place where Ji Qing Song had been killed. Ji Yuan and the others were in the sky and said to He Xiao, "Brother He, Ji Qing Song died here." "All right," He Xiao nodded. He rose high up in the air as it turned dark. Even an illusion of twinkling stars appeared. What a mysterious strength! Everybody started hallucinating. At that moment, He Xiao's eyes turned into two shining orbs. Then two gigantic dazzling stars appeared in the sky like eyes, and he scanned the mountain range. Destiny technique, destiny vision. The people present were shaken. Cultivators from shrines were abnormally strong and talented. The old man inspected the mountain range with his destiny vision. Many stars appeared everywhere. Everything was reflected in their minds. They saw Ing Cheng when he broke through to the Diqi layer. They also saw Lin Feng and Ji Qing-song talking. "Stop!" shouted Ji Yuan explosively when Lin Feng and Ji Qing-song were talking. They had seen everything: Lin Feng and Ji Qing-song's conversation. The valley, Lin Feng had left. An old man had come, and then mountains had exploded. Chapter 1980. Protected by the University. As expected, it was Lin Feng, said the members of the Ji clan icily. They had seen everything thanks to the destiny vision. As expected, Lin Feng had plotted against Ji Qing-song to kill him. So Lin Feng had definitely killed Ji Qing-song's son too. He had made Ji Jiang kill him. Ji Jiang was being controlled by Lin Feng. Ji Yuan was furious. It had been a very, very long time since someone had dared do that to the Ji clan. And Lin Feng had done that alone. He kept humiliating them, and now he had started killing some of their people. Who is that strong cultivator? Is he from Champion University? Asked Ji Yuan icily. Mountains had exploded. They hadn't seen the fighter clearly. At that moment, Ing Fei's eyes were sharp and he looked furious. Lightning exploded in his eyes and he swore. Dragon elephant. It could be Xiao Wutian. Xiao Wutian? Ji Yuan frowned and said, "You're saying that Xiao Wutian killed Ji Qing-song?" "Could be. Xiao Wutian is an expert at disguising himself. We know that very well. The problem is, why would Xiao Wutian help Lin Feng kill people of the Ji clan?" said Ing Fei slowly. Ji Yuan didn't understand either. But if Xiao Wutian and Lin Feng had really cooperated, at least they would be able to deal with them at the same time. "Brother He, can you find them?" asked Ing Fei to He Xiao. He Xiao had come from far away to help them find Xiao Wutian. He would have nowhere to hide now. "Of course, he can't escape from the destiny eyes in the holy city," said He Xiao calmly. He sounded quite confident. He said, "Put their faces in the destiny vision using your godly awareness." "All right," said Ing Fei, and Ji Yuan nodded. Lin Feng and Xiao Wutian's silhouettes appeared in the celestial eyes, and a strange and mysterious strength appeared. The Destiny Shrine's destiny technique is very mysterious. At a certain level, it can affect people's destiny, and it can also help some cultivators break free from the great Tao and transcend worldliness. It can change someone's life completely. Of course, only peerless cultivators of shrines are strong enough to do that, murmured some of the people watching. Suddenly, the destiny eyes revealed a courtyard and 3 people: Lin Feng, Xiao Ye, and an old man, the one who had killed Ji Qing-song. "Brother He, what about Xiao Wutian?" "It's that old man. The 2 people you are looking for are there," said He Xiao indifferently. The crowd was stupefied. As expected, Xiao Wutian and Lin Feng know each other. "Remember the place and head back." Xiao Wutian, Lin Feng. All the cultivators looked furious. He Xiao also recalled his destiny vision and closed his eyes. Then he became normal again. If the Ying clan and the Ji clan hadn't been ready to pay the price for it, he wouldn't have come from so far away. He Xiao was from an extremely powerful clan in one of the main cities of the Dark Night region, the He clan. His clan was extremely powerful because the founder of their clan was from the Destiny Shrine. 3 people from the He clan were now members of the Destiny Shrine. He Xiao was one of them. Thanks to them, the He clan was more powerful than ancient holy clans. For clans like the He clan, clans like the Ying clan, or the Ji clan were merely ordinary clans. Mr. Xiao frowned. He had the sensation they were being watched. "Mr. Xiao, what's wrong?" asked Lin Feng when he saw Mr. Xiao's face. "I have the impression that someone is watching us," said Mr. Xiao slowly. Lin Feng was startled. Mr. Xiao was so strong, he couldn't have hallucinations. Lin Feng looked at him. Mr. Xiao released his godly awareness and inspected their surroundings, but he found nothing. "How strange," murmured Mr. Xiao. There was nobody around. At his cultivation level, people who could spy on him were terrifyingly strong. Lin Feng had a bad premonition. Mr. Xiao's perceptions were acute. The Ying clan had always wanted to kill him, so they maybe had a method to find him. Mr. Xiao, you should come back to Champion University with me, said Lin Feng to Mr. Xiao. Champion University was like another world. There were many strong cultivators there. And even the Ying clan didn't dare attack Champion University. No, even if they can watch us, they can't find me, said Mr. Xiao, shaking his head. Lin Feng, bring Xiaoya back to the small world. I'll go somewhere else. Lin Feng remained silent for a few seconds and said, All right, but Mr. Xiao, if anything happens, please come to Champion University as soon as possible. All right, head back immediately, said Mr. Xiao. Then, he rose up in the air and disappeared. Xiaoya, let's go, said Lin Feng, pulling her hand and leaving. Whether Mr. Zhao's premonition was true or not, they had to be prepared just in case. At the same time, the Ying clan, the Yuan clan, the Pei clan and the Ji clan dispatched their strong cultivators. They all headed to the same place. Xiao Wutian went to an ordinary mountain to practice cultivation, but quickly had the impression someone was watching him again. His face changed drastically when he realized something. He moved somewhere else, and it continued for a while. In the end, Xiao Wutian realized that the Ying clan had probably asked them for help. Little Lin Feng said he had his own small world. That's probably the only place where I can hide now. I have to go and see him, thought Xiao Wutian. He contacted Lin Feng using his talisman and flew towards Champion University. Lin Feng waited for Mr. Xiao, and they went back to his courtyard. Mr. Xiao entered Lin Feng's small world. The small world of his spirit was Lin Feng's biggest secret. He only told people he trusted about it, like Mr. Xiao. He Xiao continued using his destiny vision, but Mr. Xiao had disappeared. He Xiao couldn't use his destiny vision constantly. He could use it only now, and then when he needed it. What's going on? He Xiao frowned. How is this possible? Brother He? Asked Ding Fa, looking at him. Xiao Wutian had disappeared from the destiny vision? He disappeared. I don't know what kind of strength could give someone the power to escape from the destiny vision. His destiny vision disappeared as he frowned. He didn't understand what was going on. Disappeared. Ding Fa's face stiffened. Xiao Wutian might have noticed something. He had kept running away. And in the end he had gone to Champion University. He's definitely in Champion University, brother He, check Lin Feng. Ding Fa asked He Xiao. He Xiao activated his destiny vision once again. Lin Feng was in his courtyard. However, Xiao Wutian wasn't with him. Ding Fa used his talisman. Xiao Wutian went to Champion University, but now has disappeared. Brother He can't find him with his destiny vision. Maybe someone is helping him, which would change everything. We need to find Lin Feng and understand the relationship Lin Feng has to Xiao Wutian. We need to capture Lin Feng, and Xiao Wutian will definitely show up. The person on the other end didn't reply. He knew what to do. They initially wanted to kill Xiao Wutian, and then find Lin Feng. Capturing someone in Champion University was more difficult than killing Xiao Wutian. The ancient holy clans didn't dare offend the universities. At the entrance of Champion University, a strong wind started blowing. 4 people appeared, all of them looked incredibly strong, and everybody was looking at them. How strong, sighed the crowd. Those 4 people had appeared in the blink of an eye, and they had absolutely no qi. They looked enigmatic and imposing. 2 more people suddenly appeared and looked at those 4 people. Masters, what are you doing in Champion University? Guards. The crowd was astonished and frowned. Lin Feng killed some people of the Ji clan. I came to capture him. I hope you can understand. The 4 moved forwards. How oppressive. People's hearts started pounding. Even the guards' faces changed drastically. They glanced at each other, and their silhouettes flickered. They came to capture Lin Feng. Someone had overheard that. Activate the crisis signal, otherwise we won't make it in time. Crisis signal? The crowd was astonished. Champion University's crisis signal was used when terrifying enemies came who posed a direct threat. Lin Feng must be protected, that's what the ancestors said. If they capture Lin Feng, we won't be able to bear the responsibility for it. 9 light beams appeared in Champion University, and loud drums echoed everywhere. Champion University was now in a state of alert. Chapter 1981. Four ancient holy clans under pressure at that moment. People from Champion University raised their heads in surprise. What was going on? The university hadn't had an alert for 1,000 years. The four universities of the Holy City had existed for a countless number of years. The ancient holy clans respected them and didn't dare offend them. Tensions between universities and ancient holy clans were almost non-existent. Ancient holy clans also sent cultivators to universities all the time. Therefore, there were rarely problems in universities. And it had been a millennium since a university had been in a state of alert. 9 lights, king-type alarm bell. Oh my, what's going on? Some old men of the university wondered. This was a red alert, the highest state of alert. Many students who had been at university for a very long time didn't even know what it meant. Even Lin Feng looked up at the sky, not understanding what was going on, as he didn't know all the rules of the university. However, at the same time, in the celestial mountains of Champion University, a terrifying chi rose to the skies. Some silhouettes came out of the celestial mountains. People who were practicing cultivation stopped what they were doing. Whose chi? At that moment, Lin Feng realized he was being constricted by some strong cultivator's chi. After a short time in the distance, threads of chi rose up in the air. For people who looked like kings had appeared, moving almost invisibly quickly. Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. People's hearts were pounding violently. Mr. Xiao had guessed right. They had been watching him. Those 4 people were terrifyingly strong. Lin Feng, said one of them icily. He waved his hand and suddenly a terrifying strength oppressed Lin Feng. He could barely move. Who dares attack him? Shouted a thunderous voice. Rumbling sounds spread in the air, and a terrifying and oppressive chi filled the air. Ancestors Xian Tian and Shi Tian appeared and descended from the sky. They stood above Lin Feng and glared at the cultivators icily. Ji clan, Yuan clan, Ying clan, Pei clan. You're joining hands to capture the students of Champion University now? Said Ancestor Shi Tian furiously. She kept pulsing around him. Suddenly more and more people appeared around them. These people were all strong cultivators who practiced cultivation in the celestial mountains. When they heard the bell, they rushed over and found the place with their godly awareness. Many people were shocked because of the bell and were rushing over. 4 ancient holy clans. 4 holy great emperors had come to Champion University to capture Lin Feng? What a terrifying army. Ancestor Shi Tian. We didn't come here to cause trouble for no reason. Lin Feng joined hands with Xiao Wu Tian to kill Ji Qing Song, a celestial emperor from the Ji clan. Because that celestial emperor tried to use a powerful dream illusion on me to make me fall asleep and steal the celestial evolution holy scriptures from me. Then, he made my friend fall asleep and forced her to tell him my secrets. Then he threatened me and tried to force me to give him the celestial evolution holy scriptures. 4th, I do know Xiao Wu Tian, so what? Because I know him. The Ying clan sends holy great emperors to kill me? Are you blaming me for the tensions between the Ying clan and Xiao Wu Tian? Lin Feng admitted everything. Since those holy great emperors were in Champion University, he had to tell the truth. He couldn't lie anyway. He had reasons for everything he had done. Everybody knows what happened between the Pei clan and the Ying clan. So a strong cultivator of the Pei clan coming here to kidnap my people is pathetic and insolent. You despise Champion University. Then, regarding the Yuan clan and the Ji clan, you sent some people to kill Lin Feng. He protected himself, there's nothing bad about that. And regarding Ji Qing Song, a celestial emperor, he attacked 2 young people. If I had known, I would have killed him myself. And the Ying clan, Lin Feng is not the person you're looking for. I also know Xiao Wu Tian. Do you want to capture me too? Said Ancestor Shi Tian, icily supporting Lin Feng. You are not welcome in Champion University. Please leave now, said Ancestor Xian Tian indifferently and calmly. That little boy said 3 words. And now you think the situation is solved? It's not that easy. We'll take Lin Feng away and carry out a proper investigation. If it has nothing to do with him, we'll bring him back, said the holy great emperor of the Ji clan, calmly yet firmly. Their goal was to oppress Champion University If they couldn't stand the pressure, they'd give up. What do you think Champion University is? Your playground, replied Ancestor Shirtion icily. Champion University has existed in the Holy City for many years. Our ancient holy clans respect Champion University, and we even send students to Champion University. But Lin Feng infuriated so many people. We've forgiven him a few times. Now it's too much, he went too far. You are also going too far by protecting him like this. What you mean is that I should hand over my students to you just because you're giving us an order, said Ancestor Shirtion, grunting coldly. What about Ji Qingsong, his son, Ji Jiang and the others? And what about the members of the Yuan clan and the Ying clan? They died for nothing? Retorted the Holy Great Emperor of the Ji clan coldly. I told you, they died because they deserved it. Leave now, answered Ancestor Shirtion, rolling up his sleeves. All right, it's Champion University. We're giving you face, we respect you. We won't cause trouble here. But if Lin Feng and people who connected to him leave Champion University, we'll do what we have to do. You can protect your students, but the Ji clan can also protect its people, said the Holy Great Emperor of the Ji clan icily. The same applies to the Yuan clan and the Ying clan. I will make sure to investigate about the relations between Lin Feng and Xiao Wu Tian, swore the Holy Great Emperor of the Ying clan icily. Champion University is protecting people who commit offenses, no problem. The Holy Great Emperors then turned around and left. They were furious. They wanted to oppress Champion University, but they had failed. Now, Lin Feng was stuck in Champion University. He wouldn't be able to come out. Chapter 1982. Help for Lin Feng. The Holy Great Emperors left, but didn't go back to their clans. They stood outside Champion University like statues. Many people who came to the university sensed that terrifying pressure. For Holy Great Emperors were surprisingly waiting outside of Champion University. The pressure was terrifying. Lin Feng hadn't expected such consequences. They had surprisingly carried out an investigation concerning Ji Qingsong's death, and had found out about him, Xiao Yao, and Mr. Xiao. It was hard to imagine. Holy Great Emperors were joining hands to oppress the university. Lin Feng hadn't expected these things at all. All right, everybody can disperse, said Ancestor Shirtion, waving his hands. He brought Lin Feng to the waterfall and said, Lin Feng, the 4 ancient holy clans joined hands because they want your celestial evolution holy scriptures, but you also gave them reasons to attack. You know Xiao Wu Tian, you killed Ji Qingsong by surprise. How did they learn about it? Ancestor, they must have used some incredible techniques. They couldn't possibly know. I was with Mr. Xiao. He sensed that someone was spying on us, but he couldn't find the source. If they really had such a power, back then, Mr. Xiao wouldn't have managed to escape when the Ying clan was chasing him to kill him, replied Lin Feng honestly. He didn't understand how this had happened. Ancestor Shirtion's eyes twinkled. How had they found clues about him? Buddy, could they have invited some people of the He clan to come? Ancestor Xiantian asked Ancestor Shirtion. Ancestor Shirtion frowned and nodded. Possibly. 4 ancient holy clans joined hands because of the celestial evolution holy scriptures. They may have paid the full price to invite the He clan to come. And the Ying clan also wants to kill Xiao Wu Tian. It seems that this time, the 4 clans are ready to take big risks, muttered Ancestor Shirtion. Lin Feng felt pressured. The situation was scary, and he couldn't do anything. Lin Feng, you can't leave the university temporarily. They won't capture you within our territory, Ancestor Shirtion said to him. Lin Feng nodded. He could only follow along. He was too weak in front of such titans. The news that 4 holy great emperors from 4 ancient holy clans wanted to capture Lin Feng quickly spread in the holy city. Nobody understood. Everybody tried to imagine what it felt like to be Lin Feng. What would they have done against 4 holy great emperors? Yin Rui felt pressured as well. Had he made a mistake? He had tacitly accepted Yin Yu and Lin Wushang's relationship. Now, Yin Yu was gone with Lin Wushang. He didn't know where they were. What was going to happen to Lin Feng? Was he going to die? He couldn't imagine. And the Ying clan couldn't do much to help him. Yin Rui was in a courtyard and gazed into the distance. He looked pensive. If the four ancient holy clans captured Lin Feng and obtained the celestial evolution holy scriptures, it would be a catastrophe for his clan. Lin Feng from Champion University is doomed, many people were saying. Enigmatic things were going on. What pressure? If Champion University didn't hand Lin Feng over, what would happen? Would they be able to stand the pressure? If this continued, it would change many things. Many young people wouldn't be able to become new students. There would also be fewer people in Champion University. The four ancient holy clans had a reason for doing what they were doing. They could stay there and wait as long as Champion University didn't start a war against them. Tiantai's people were furious. They didn't understand. Four ancient holy clans dared do that for the celestial evolution holy scriptures? What can we do? Lin Feng can't stay here forever. And who knows what the four ancient holy clans are capable of? Lin Feng and the core disciples of Tiantai gathered together. They were all quite close, but now they felt powerless and dispirited. It's a very bad thing for Champion University too. Now the whole holy city is closely monitoring the situation. I'll go back to the tribe and make some strong cultivators come to the holy city. With Xiao Wu Tian, the strong cultivators of the tribe, and the strong cultivators of the university, we can oppress them, said Tiantai furiously. Back then, he had never thought Lin Feng knew Xiao Wu Tian, a person of unusual ability. Champion University will never accept fighting against four ancient holy clans, said Yun Qingyan. After all, Champion University was one of the four universities of the holy city. If they made a mistake, they might collapse, and the three other universities wouldn't help them. So what is the solution? Asked Tiantai hastily. If the university didn't use their full strength to help Lin Feng, he would be doomed. Maybe the managers of the university are discussing those things, muttered Yun Qingyan. They heard a whistling sound. In the distance, some silhouettes appeared. One of them a supernatural bird bathing in flames. Next to him was Qing Feng. They both landed there at Tiantai. Qing Feng, you came back. Yun Qingyan smiled. Qing Feng nodded and looked at Lin Feng. I heard about the situation, so I came back. Qing Feng and Wu had gone back to the vast celestial ancient city. They hadn't been back to the holy city for a long time. Lin Feng was now in danger, so they had come back. The animal world is going to come and help as soon as possible, said Wu, turning to his human form. Flames of fury burned in his eyes. I feel like I'm causing trouble to too many elders, said Lin Feng, looking at Qing Feng. Qing Feng replied, you can inform the university about that. Tell them I asked for help. That way they will feel less pressure. But it's not enough, said Yun Qingyan frowning. She had heard about the animal world of the vast celestial ancient city. Wu was a terrifying cultivator, but in the holy city, the animal world was still not strong enough. Lin Feng, Meng Qing smiled. Lin Feng, the World Clan is going to help. The World Clan. Lin Feng was stunned. Meng Qing nodded. Yes, I spent many years in the World Clan, and I know many of the elders. I contacted some of them and told them everything. They want to help us. Great. The World Clan is a very ancient clan, and they are extremely strong. They even managed to hide for such a long time. Now Lang Yi is traveling alone. If they help, it's going to be astonishing, exclaimed Tiantai. He was excited now. The World Clan, the animal world, Xiao Wu Tian. Even without the help of the tribe, maybe it was enough to convince Champion University to help. Yes, the World Clan is a terrifying clan. They've been discreet for many years, and now it was an opportunity for them to rise again. Yin Qingyan nodded. The World Clan was a mysterious yet very strong clan. Lin Feng was amazed at all the good news. He felt touched and moved. He would have never thought the World Clan would agree to help him. With the help of the animal world, the World Clan, and Champion University, even the three other universities wouldn't get involved. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference. as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.